Hey Guardian, now that the Pale Heart from the Final Shape campaign is opening up and we discover so many mysterious things in the game, my guest co-hosts and I discuss what we've found so far, and we particularly talk about a very special two-man activity that I'll never forget. I wanted to reiterate that this episode will contain spoilers, so if you haven't yet explored the Pale Heart and want a fresh run, then maybe come back and listen to this episode at a later time. Bungie continues to amaze me as this expansion is their best yet. So without anything further, enjoy the show. You ever wonder what makes a great gamer? Great gaming is not only about cheering on our teammates, but also being there to pick us up when we're down.
Guardian down!
Have you ever played Destiny with a fellow Guardian and thought to yourself, I wonder what their life is like? Questions like these spark conversation, friendship, and community. We're a Destiny 2 podcast that focuses on three things: community, news around the gaming industry and Destiny 2, and thought-provoking topics in the game. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. What's up, Guardian? Welcome to episode 256 of Guardian Downcast, the Destiny podcast. Hey, I'm your host, Todd the Gator, and I'm a Day One Guardian who loves gaming, and especially the Destiny franchise, the Final Shape, Episode 1 Echoes, Cade 6, and we talk about it. In this episode, it's all about the new Final Shape expansion and Episode 1 Echoes, which just dropped last Tuesday. I asked one of my past guests, who's also a fellow podcaster and roundtabler, and he agreed to sit down with me today and talk some Destiny 2. He's part of the best hub on the net with Guardian Hub Podcast. It's Kingsleymac. How you doing, sir?
Doing great. I'm so happy to be here. It's always a pleasure to help you co-host an episode or be a guest, whatever we want to call it. I just love being on and talking about stuff.
We'll call it a co-host. We'll call it a guest co-host. I have a lot of guest co-hosts. Yeah, I like that. I like that term better. Well, we got a lot to talk about today. And what is that, Gator? Well, in today's show, we're going to break it all down like this. First, I haven't been able to talk to Kingsley yet, so I want to hear about his initial impressions of the Final Shape itself, which is going into week 3 now, believe it or not. Man, time flies. We both teamed up and played the new exotic class item mission, Dual Destiny, this week, and we'll share our experience from that. Then I'll go over a TLDR version of This Week in Destiny, the TWAB. Next, we'll share our opinions of the first episode of Destiny 2 called Echoes, Act 1. Then I have a Destiny 2 topic of the week I've carefully and methodically handcrafted into a hopefully fruitful discussion. I'll have some light housekeeping and announcements at the end of the show as well. As you can see, we got a lot to cover tonight. Oh, and Laz, my space attorney, has requested a meeting as well. So
Wait, what? You gotta speak up.
Laz, my space attorney, he's requested a meeting as well.
I'll try to get out of this. He told me to tell you.
It's been sitting on my desk here for a couple weeks now, and he keeps texting me. I keep getting pinged every day. He pings me. So I'm like, you know what? We'll have the meeting tonight before we end the show. All right. With all that, let's roll. Hey, thanks for listening to Guardian Downcast. There are several ways you can contact us. First, you can find us on X at Guardian_D_cast. Or you can find us on our Instagram channel at Guardian Downcast and see what pics and reels that I and our podcast guests want to share with you guys. You can send us a voicemail at speakpipe.com/Guardian Downcast. You can send us an email at guardiandowncast@gmail.com. But if you just want to do it all in one spot, check out our new website. Just visit guardiandowncast.com. You can find all our contact info, leave us a voicemail, give us our show rating and review, search for any past episodes, or even get back to our community. Also, don't forget to sign up for future updates to the show, where we'll also have random drawings throughout the year, and you may win a gift card or even some Guardian Downcast merch. Our community thrives on interaction, so get involved and check us out. And later, Guardian. Well, hey, Kingsleymac, thanks again for coming on tonight, man. I enjoy our conversations all the time. I'm just curious, just a quick catch-up. What have you been doing this week? I know we've been playing Destiny. I mean, it's obvious, but anything else going on in your life this week?
Man, as far as anything else, not too much. I mean, I feel like I need to get out. This is expected during a new expansion, and as we're going to be talking, it's been an amazing one. So I've been hitting it hard because I've been enjoying everything about it. But as far as other things, I mean, work is always great. Just trucking along, doing my thing. I haven't personally seen any movies this week or anything, but I have no time at all to even watch any TV. It's like work, Destiny, sleep. But I mean, it's been a happy week. I don't have any complaints. I just wish I had a better answer for you.
No, that's fine, man. No, I just was, I haven't talked to you in a bit. We did play some Destiny together this week. We'll talk about that later in the show, but man, I got to tell you about a sleeper movie I saw last night. I got, for my birthday, I got, some movie passes to a theater we don't usually use because it's not part of AMC Stubbs A-List, but it was a Regal Cinema over in, another part of Orlando area, really nice ritzy area. And we said, you know what? I saw Julia Louis-Dreyfus interview on one of the Tonight shows, and she was plugging a new movie called Tuesday. And I said, you know what? I got this $25 gift card I can use on Fandango anywhere I want. And I said, let's go see that movie. We haven't been there. We went to Cheesecake Factory. Man, I got to tell you, man, Cheesecake Factory's food is really good. I always get the meatloaf, mashed potatoes, and the corn thing they got going. 1,820 calories, dude. It's a lot of meatloaf. Man. Dude, it was so good, though.
1,800?
1,820 calories. Because, you know, they have to post the calories on the menu now. And I'm like, babe, Jeez. I don't know if I can down that much meatloaf. And I almost did. I was really hungry. But besides that, we did go see the movie afterward. It's called Tuesday. It's starring Julia Louis-Dreyfus. And if you probably know her from Veep, I mean, she's been in a ton of stuff out there, but funny as hell. But this is a very serious role for her. It's about a single mom that's dealing with her only daughter that has a terminal illness, and she's kind of like she's suffering. I know it sounds very depressing, and I kind of thought that's what I was heading into with this movie, but it has an interesting twist. She and her daughter see the angel of death coming for her daughter in the form of a macaw. Like a grimy, dingy-looking macaw, and you're like, "All right, now we're off the reservation. What the hell's going on there? This is not what I was expecting." What Julia does blows my mind with this macaw, and I got to tell you, man, this is one of my top 10 movies of 2024 so far. It was that good. This little obscure independent film, which probably didn't even crack 5 million in the box office. This is the place where you can find the best jewels of a movie. And, I thought the entire movie would be kind of a downer, but I actually had a couple of audible laughs in the theater as it really surprised me. And that doesn't happen to me much. Most movies are very predictable these days. It'll be on a streaming platform sometime in the future, I'm certain. So you don't need to go to the theater to see it. It's not a big screen thing you need to see. But if you're scrolling on one of your Netflixes or HBO Maxes or whatever out there, and you see Tuesday, don't pass this movie up. It is really good. It's so weird. The very last audible sentence in the movie, I knew the movie was over. And I said, damn good film. I think everyone in the theater heard me say it. I don't say that very often. 4 stars, very good movie. Don't discount the movie Tuesday. I know it looks like a depressing movie if you see the cover, but wow, what a wacky movie. So I just want to mention that before we move on. God, you remember really good movies, the ones that really hit you in the gut. And this one did, man. And it wasn't all sad. So keep that in mind. I just wanted to throw that out there. I know I haven't done a movie review in a ton of time, but, I just want to mention that before we move on. But speaking of which, Mr. Kingsleymac, I haven't had to talk to you yet about what do you think about the final shape? How was your day one experience?
Yeah.
What from top to bottom? I mean, what's your overall impressions of this? And go into any detail you want, man.
For sure. Final shape. I had a pretty good first day experience. Yes, there was server issues. Now, I was available the whole day, so I was able to get in and out more than people that weren't available all day. It was a couple hours at the beginning before I could get in at all. And I really geek out with the technical thing because I guess we found out that the reason why they're having issues is because their load balancers weren't working. What that means, it's not that they didn't have enough servers, but there was probably a human error, technical scripting problem where they weren't. Well, the reason why only a few people were in, basically no one was in, is because it wasn't pushing to the other servers and then the other servers. That's what a load balancer does. Is it, one server can hold so many people, and then the load balancer, when people connect, they all connect through a main portal, and then it pushes them to other servers.
So the switch,
the load balancer wasn't working. Yeah,
so
that's what happened.
Overload it and immediately just kick.
Well, no, that was later. At first, people weren't connecting at all for 2 hours, except for a few people.
I did.
I remember even watching Astor Cross and me. I think I heard you got in pretty quick.
120. I was in. I actually played for 4 hours straight without any interruption.
Okay. So what happened there is you got in like their one server that they had running, but most people didn't get in at all for 2.5 hours before they got the load balancers working again.
Streamer luck.
And my guess is what happened. This is total speculation, but being in IT, it could be correct. Remember how there was the Sony leak a couple days before on the weekend where it kind of got released early and stuff?
Yeah. They had some test servers open, right? Some people were able to get
They had some test servers open. And so in the panic there, they shut that down. So, people were in for an hour or two and then they shut that all down because it's not just Sony releasing the game early. Bungie has to have servers up also for it to work. But then they probably shut it down in a way with some human error that they didn't account for needing to have the load balancers back working on Tuesday. They're like, we got all our servers, we're ready. But there was probably some scripting error for the load balancing to, put everyone in the right place. Yeah. And it could have just been, this could have happened. It could be because they had layoffs and not as many people managing the back end stuff. But honestly, this could have happened even if they didn't have any layoffs. I'm thinking it's human error, which in a way is like kind of actually giving them a benefit of the doubt, even though that sounds funny because a lot of people think, well, they've had 6 months. Why didn't they have enough servers? They did have enough servers. There was some human error where it just wasn't routing correctly.
It wasn't right or something. Could be or something.
Yeah.
I don't know enough I know enough to get me in trouble probably, but well, that's interesting. Yeah. Because I must have been so lucky because it's at Florida, I guess, Florida server. I don't know, man. I played for 4 hours and then, like I mentioned last week, 5 o'clock started feeling a little rumbling, got kicked a couple of times, but I was able to get back in and continue my story. And then 6 o'clock, the bottom fell out, man. It was like I couldn't get on.
Yeah.
I would even get to the campfire. And as soon as I went to the stave to start the mission where I left off, instant kick. So
yeah,
that makes sense if it was the server it was going to.
Well, and just real quick, geeking out what probably happened at night is like when they fixed it earlier in the day and I actually played for a good amount once I got in 2 hours later, all the way up until, about 5 Eastern, 3 o'clock my time. But what probably happened there was because the script wasn't working for all the load balancers, they probably had to turn on servers manually. So they were probably going into management portals, turn on server quickly, right? But that can only do so good if it's not automated so that when more people were coming on later at night, that's why the kicking was happening. Because people were kind of getting in servers, but then it still wasn't automatically moving them to whatever server had more room on the fly. So what would happen is, we try to load down to the planet. You try 5 times, maybe it works. And then you have to go up to the flag. It still doesn't work. You get kicked to orbit. And they finally fixed it late at night. Luckily for me, being more mountain time zone, it wasn't as late for me, but I think it was like 12 or 1 Eastern when they finally fixed it, right?
Is that when they re-rolled the servers? Or was that the next morning?
Yeah, they rebooted all the servers.
That's when it happened. So, they re-rolled the servers. I got in no problem. I got in after midnight, I think, 1 o'clock maybe.
Yes.
And I played for an hour or two, and I was like, you know what? I'm exhausted. Mentally, I was spent. I was like, you know what? I was playing it on Legends solo. And it was already tough. And I think I'd probably I probably passed Requiem. I was probably moving on to Ascent. And that's probably when I just said, I think I'll just come back in the morning. I already planned on taking it off. So, wow. Yeah. So you weren't able to enjoy that. Since then. Yeah. You weren't able to enjoy it as soon as it reset then. I mean, it reset.
Not as soon, but 2 hours in, and then I enjoyed it for several hours, and then that evening was touch and go, and then again late at night it got better, and it was only like 10 or 11 for me, and then I still played for a few hours. And it got better.
The good news is I haven't had any errors since, so I guess they've got it all figured out now. Yeah.
They have, and that's why, again, they have the resources. It's not like they didn't plan for it. There really was just probably some unforeseen thing that happened.
Yeah, and this isn't Sony. Sony has no play. This is all Bungie flipping the switches here. I'm sure Sony is just overseeing it. But I looked online today. This has a 94 Metacritic, dude. I don't think I've ever seen a Bungie game that high. Have you?
Yes. I don't really keep track of the Metacritic reviews, but I started seeing that news today also. And yes, that's really good news. I mean, I think we all agree this is an amazing expansion. The thing that I don't agree with was when I was seeing all the previous ones, things like Forsaken and Taken King that were only around 50, 60%. I'm like, what? Those were way better in my eyes.
Well, we're fans of the game, so we're a little biased. But they're Metacritic typically they're pretty strict. I don't see 94s on much of anything out there. I don't know. Maybe. And
this is hovering between, I think they said when the article came out, it was the number one game of the year so far. Of course, we have a lot of year to go. Sure. But when I checked the website, Final Fantasy was back ahead of it just slightly, but I'm sure it'll change back and forth. But it's right up there pretty much at first place right now for best game of the year.
That's amazing, man. That's such good news, man. Well, what did you think of the campaign? Did you start Legend solo, or did you just run through it? I think you were just running through it, right? Just to get through the story?
I always run the stories through normal first. And I do want to give a little PSA. I feel like there's a lot of people in our communities that have felt pressure to run on Legend because so many people are saying they're doing Legend, and then they're getting frustrated and they still haven't finished some. I wish they would have heard my advice from day one. I mean, yeah, it's good to run Legend eventually if you want to, but don't feel the pressure. Like, here's yet another reason why I want to run it on normal first. I want to get through all the story quickly and experience it as quick as I can. But then also that gives me experience. So then when I go back in Legend, I have an easier time on the missions running them in Legend. So that's just how I play it. And I'm glad I did again this year and did normal first. Love the story. I can't think of really anything that I didn't like about it other than some gameplay elements. I don't know what it is, just because we've been in Destiny for so long, or if this expansion is more than normal, but what's with all the damage gate bosses? It seems like it's so much more this time than before.
Well, do you know what it seemed to me, Kingsley? I don't compare this to Lightfall because Lightfall was, let's face it, it's not even in the same league. I mean, I enjoyed Lightfall for what it was, but I've been kind of wanting to compare this to Witch Queen because Witch Queen is very much a mirror image of this as far as campaign. Has about the same amount of missions, but you know what I noticed, Kingsley? There were a lot more mechanics in Final Shape than there was in Witch Queen. Am I correct there, or were there more mechanics?
Oh yeah, there are. And that is why, the story, the story is amazing. The gameplay, which is slightly different, which is what I was talking about, is amazing. Even though I'm complaining about this damage gating, which I don't know what they can do about it. It's a minor complaint. The mechanics to me really added a lot. I'm sure, again, some people playing on Legend might be frustrated if they've never encountered some of these mechanics before. A lot of them come from exotic missions or raids, and they really dumb them down for the story. They're not extremely hard, but I could see some people not liking that. But for me, I think it felt very lively because, yes, the damage gate's annoying, but then at least we go and connect some nodes or do this and that, and then we come back and then we do it again. And I really had a lot of fun doing that.
I noticed there were a lot of mechanics that were tied back to all the raiding we did in Destiny 2. Mm-hmm. And dungeons with the light and dark, the moats. And, what was the one where you had to do the light and dark moats? That was it with the 30th anniversary? I think Nico said it was, I don't know if it was right or not.
The light and dark moats are from, that dungeon, the prophecy dungeon.
He said the one where the Galahorn is in. I can't remember the name of it, but
that
sound right. Not saying Nico was wrong. We were just grasping at straws, trying to figure out which dungeon it was like. But very much the same mechanic. And also the reason why Well, we'll talk about that later. I don't want to get into that, but yeah, I just noticed there were a lot of mechanics, and especially us that you more than me that do a lot of raiding. It was just like a light bulb went off. We knew exactly what we needed to do.
Yeah. The mechanics weren't really an issue. It just made it feel lively and interesting. If they weren't there, and especially having the damage gates, I would have been even more annoyed with the damage gates.
Yeah, the damage gates were it was just an annoyance. I get it. But so you got through the normal, and got it all done. That last
and then did Legend afterwards.
Iconoclasm, just an amazing story mission. I love that. I mean, it had like 4 boss battles and 4 mechanics just in one story. They really laid it on thick on that last one. But so you ran it again through Legend, and then so you've got your 260. I keep saying 260. You get your 1960 gear, and and what exotic did you pick?
I picked the chest piece. A lot of people were going for the helmet because of the healing turret, but I kind of like strand stuff, and I haven't even been using it, but I played with it at the beginning, and it makes your strand arcane needle super powerful, where it basically severs everything and puts a mark on everyone, and it could be good for certain builds. I just haven't really been using it, mating it or anything, but a lot of us are using, of course,
the speaker
Getaway.
Site. Yeah, the speaker site.
Getaway artist.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I got that from Esoteric. I was watching Esoteric run the last mission because I was running into a wall, and I'm like, okay, I'm thinking about this too much. I need to simplify this. So I watched Esoteric do it on Legend, and he was using I don't think he was using was he using? You told me about the next one that I used in the Dual Destiny mission, and like I said, I'll wait to talk about that when it comes. But I was using the Getaway Artist with the freezing turrets. I was using that all the way through, and it definitely helped me, man. It was nice to be able to freeze and keep the Omen. I think it was the Omen down there busy, and while we tried to pot shot him and get it taken care of. But after, you got through the Legend, you got your gear, you picked your chest exotic. What did you do after that?
Well, after that, of course, the after exotic missions, and this is before the second week, which we can talk about with other things coming out. Well, and before the raid and the after mission.
Yeah, but let me interrupt here, Kingsley. I just want to mention, anybody listening to this right now, we're going into week 3. There's going to be spoilers. If you haven't played the story, you haven't played the end story, and even some parts of the Pale Heart we're going to talk about tonight. And of course, the first week of the season echoes. I just want to let you know, if you haven't played that yet, or you're really worried about spoilers, now's the time. This is going to be your only warning here going forward. All right, Kingsley, sorry. I just want to make sure I mention
Thank you.
that.
No, that's good to say.
You can talk openly now.
Of course. And we kind of went over some of this on our episode last night too. It's fully open now. No more spoilers, but I loved after, I did the campaign. Of course, one of the first things I do is see what's opened up, what after exotic missions there are. And boy, did we have a lot to do. I jumped into the, let's see what the name was. The first one, the Savathun, the Destined Heroes quest, where you get the Ergo Sun sword.
Yep.
And that was that interesting one where you run around and you do the sword projectiles on the, the tokens on the sky.
Right.
Yeah.
That was cool.
That was a lot of fun. And then I did the other quest after that. The famous wild card with
great story.
Cade 6 and
Cade
Crow
was saying, listen, it's kind of all what we all suspected, right? He says, listen, you need to be the Hunter Vanguard. He was telling Crow, you need to be the Hunter Vanguard. I mean, technically you killed me. So, and he had his doubts, and Cade was kind of reassuring him that, hey, I didn't know what I was doing going into this either. I got backed into this. I didn't want to do it. And, it was kind of nice how and you could see why they made you do that, what was that sniper rifle mission? The
Still Hunt.
The wild card mission, I think.
Wild card is the name of the mission for the Still Hunt weapon.
Right. Anything you wanted to add about that story? As I interrupted you?
I'm curious it was an amazing story, and you're right. It's like we kind of saw this coming. I've seen it coming forever. Obviously, they've been playing Crow as a character to do this, and I know a lot of people don't like Crow. I've been more up on him than most. It's not like my favorite character, but like people got to see this coming. Like, just deal with it. You're going to have to like Crow because that's what Bungie wants us to like. But
yeah.
How do you feel about this now? Are you a little more accepting of him becoming Hunter Vanguard? Because I think they did it in a pretty good way.
Yeah,
or do you still hate Crow?
There's no secret. There's no secret that I wasn't a fan of Crow. I didn't like Aldrin, and Crow just seemed like an extension of him. I like the new man bun. I like the new look. You know, yeah, I like the new look. I'm okay with it. I'm at peace with Crow. I figured he's probably going to be a part of the story going forward, so I'm just curious to see how it turns out. Was tired of his whiny. He was always such a whiny little guy. He was always whining, which was the total opposite of Aldrin. Aldrin was pompous and thought he knew more than anybody in the room. And then here comes Crow with this lack of experience or lack of confidence, and it just was just a turnoff for me, man. But I'm okay with him.
Having emotions doesn't necessarily mean you're whiny. I get it though, for someone who, yeah.
Well, yeah. Like I said,
that's my little high horse, but I get why people think he's whiny, but I think us as a society shouldn't necessarily think people are whiny just when they have emotions, but
it just came across as, I get it. You even hung out at the helm, and you sat there and just listened to him, and he's like, geez, I wonder if I'm like, come on, man, grow a backbone. Come on, let's go. Come on. That's what I wanted to tell him. So every time I hung around him, he was always like, I wonder if Zavala, I'm just, come on, man. Anyway, I'll back off. But,
yeah, it's fair.
Yeah. So
I think with them having Cade 6 promote him, endorse him as being the next Hunter Guard is probably what helps the most, right? Like, well, if Cade 6 says it, we maybe don't love Crow being the next Hunter Vanguard, but because Cade 6 is endorsing it, we're somewhat okay with it.
What do you think of the 12-man activity once the raid race was over? That was a slog, man. That was a long raid race.
Oh. Well, do we want to talk? I just have a couple minutes. We want to talk about raid now.
Talk about
later.
it, yeah. Now, wait a minute now. Have you run the raid yet?
No.
I haven't either.
That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
This raid, holy cow, and we all are seeing this, but it broke the record. It was longer to pass than even Last Wish.
Yep.
And I was watching it on day one. Even when I saw that the first encounter, the very first group to pass the first encounter, the quickest group was like 4 hours. Mm-hmm. Once I saw that, like, oh boy, we're dealing with the crazy raid here.
Yep.
And it only got harder from there. And then just seeing like people were in it like all night. Like I was staying up late that night. I was talking to some friends and just watching some. And then I remember when the first group got to the last encounter, and then everyone starts shutting off their cams.
Oh, and then they muted all the fire team talk, and I was like,
yes.
Well, I don't need to have it on anymore now because everyone's muted, so I'm just going to mute it. And what I would do is what I did, Kingsley, I left it going. I think 500,000 people tuned in to watch it, by the way, and on Twitch, I believe it was just Twitch, but I would just check in. Oh, they're still at that first. Wow, they're still at the second encounter. Okay, and I had I was watching Data, I was watching Salta Greppo, of course, because he's won the last three. And I was watching, I think, Astacross, he was running with some of the streamers as well. I think I was watching those three, and then I was tuning into Bromans. I love how he does the tailgate thing where he has two other hosts with him, and they all kind of shoutcast it a little bit, kind of keep an eye on stuff. That was probably the best place to hang out. But yeah, man, what did you think of all that, man? I mean, that was unheard of.
It was unheard of, and I know you guys talked about it a little bit last week, but I just want to give a quick 2 cents that, the team that won, they didn't have their stream going at all. And that wasn't a requirement, by the way, by Bungie. You don't have to stream to win, but it did annoy me, the teams that were streaming and then turned off their cams for the final encounter, because what kind of entertainment is that? And then no one gets to watch it.
I don't want to see Peyton Manning's face. I want to see you guys. Yeah, but I mean, dude, once they were past hour 12, I was like, I wouldn't want to be on camera. my eyes were probably so bloodshot. You know, I was probably hanging off the chairs, just trying to figure out what the hell.
Watch the face anyways. I just want to see the encounter.
And
but anyways, the raid was crazy. Yeah, super crazy. And I have not jumped in it yet. I don't know anyone, even in our extended communities, that has gotten to clear. Like, even all of us people that raid a lot, me, Cato, like a lot of people, like, you know, soccer people I've talked to were like, boy, this one's a doozy. It reminds me of Last Wish. Last Wish also took me several weeks. I don't know how long, or a month or whatever, before we kind of got into it. And I really want like the A team teams to like pass it down to the B team teams. And then I'll get a carry from them, and then I can pass it on to other people. But I'm kind of at a point in my Destiny career, and I said this before, where Pantheon was like my capstone of like super hard stuff. It's not like I'm not going to do semi-hard stuff, but I don't want to be slogging through a raid and learning new stuff. I want this one, someone to teach it to me, and then I'll Sherpa other people.
That's what I want too.
So suffice to say, I have definitely not been in it yet. There's been so many new things. Also, like, I think last Wednesday, someone was playing with an idea of like, let's get a raid group together. We're like, but it was just a couple days ago. And we're like, no, there's too many things to do. There's Dual Destiny, and there's this, there's that. Like,
we have people in our Discord, I don't want to be just putting raids together.
Yeah, I don't want to be kicking my head against the walls trying to figure out the raid when there's so many other things going on.
One, I mean, we're going to talk about the Pale Heart. There is a lot to do. Second, I want to get a little higher power. I want to get a little more power under my belt. And, you know, 2,000 would be nice. And, you know, then I can go anywhere. I want to get that vest, that chest piece for my Warlock. But, you know, I got to do exotic, I got to do those, Legend Lost Sectors. And I think those are at like 2020 or 2050 or something. So I want to be able to jump into any content. And I'm curious, man. Do you think they're going to go any higher on this power thing, or do you think this is going to be it? Do you think they're going to abandon the power, the powering up of your gear and all that, or you think it'll still keep going?
Well, because it really matters even less as we go on every single time. Like, I know we've talked about power some, but there's so many activities now that are power disabled, and even the ones that are power enabled, they have this new thing where whoever the highest person is, they bring everyone up within 5. So it's like so many people can just not be lazy. That's not the right way to say it, but like not worry about it if you don't want to.
You're very right.
And then as long as someone's in there. Now, I still understand, I guess, having a power number. This doesn't appeal to me as much, but it's a gamification thing. So some people want to get to that power level.
They're trying to appeal to all different players. Like, that makes sense.
It's like, I don't know, does the power level appeal to you? I mean, like from a bounty or a number aspect? It's
just a number. It's just I think it's probably a vanity number more than anything, but like we did Dual Destiny this week, and we're going to talk about that later. We took advantage of that because you were a little bit higher power than me, and I'm trying to still figure out how the hell you were higher power than me, but maybe because you ran your same character twice through the campaign, easy and then hard.
Yeah.
That maybe you had more drops. Maybe that was it.
I think the reason why I do pretty good without even running bounties and stuff is because, and actually I'm curious, what is if you happen to have the game up, what is your plus number on your artifact?
I've got Dim open. I'm at 1984, almost 1985 total power. I'm at 1976 almost on my raw power. I've got a +9 on power on my artifact.
Oh, well, then that doesn't even make sense. I'm on a +9 also, but.
Really? Dude, I turned in 3 characters worth of bounties.
I tend to play really smart as far as all the powerful and pinnacle drops go. And this is how you can learn that maybe bounties will give you a little quick boost on day 1, 2, or 3 ahead of people that don't do bounties. But I will always play really smart with, like, I hit things hard this week. Even though I don't like to play on back ends of seasons as much, I hit it hard. And I've reset my Pathfinder several times. I've done all the ghost missions like 12 times. I've done all these things, and a lot of these things will continue to drop powerful engrams until we get to 1990. Powerfuls are always higher. So I don't know. Maybe I just hit things harder than you did, and
you might have just hit. You just might have hit the right things. And maybe I see when I finished the Legend campaign, I looked around. I'm like, well, why isn't the Pale Heart open? Or I don't see stuff opening up. And then I realized I had to run the Queen exotic mission for the what's the sword called? The Luna, the
Sun?
What's it called?
Ergo Sum.
Ergo Sum. And I got some really crazy Ergo Sums. But why I had you on this topic? What do you think of that new bounty system?
Yeah, the Pathfinder is okay. First of all, the way that it's laid out and the mechanics of it, I love. The actual things you have to do on the Pale Heart, I love. The things you have to do in the ritual is stupid. It's actually worse than bounties.
I haven't even touched it. I haven't even touched Crucible. I haven't touched Vanguard or, God forbid, Gambit. Sorry, Crow. I haven't touched any of that stuff because I looked at it. I looked at the Pathfinder for the ritual activities. I'm like, the first note is play Crucible. I'm like, wait a minute now, come on. I thought it would start out with like gather, I don't know, 50 spinfoil or something, or 50, go farm 50 nodes or something. Cause they said it could start on the patrol areas, but maybe I'm thinking the Pale Heart patrol areas.
That's only Pale Heart. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I was kind of turned off. I was like, you know what? I'm going to just keep doing the, what is it called again? The bounty method.
Oh, are you talking about Pale Heart or the ritual stuff?
No, the new bounty system.
Oh, the Pathfinder.
You know what? I'm just going to write it down. That way I don't have to ask you 10 times tonight.
It's okay.
Pathfinder. It's made by Nissan. It's an SUV.
P-A-T-H-F-I.
I got it. Thank you, Kingsley. I know how to spell. Thank you, sir. No, I have reset my Pathfinder almost 4 times now in the Pale Heart. I've been really keeping busy with that. But continuing on to, I want to stay on topic here because I know we got so much to talk about.
There's lots. Yeah.
The 12-man activity. Once the raid race was done, what did you think of that 12-man activity, man?
Yeah, it was really cool. I think they did about the best they could. It's not something that I want to continue to go in because it's a little basic at running it over, which, by the way, actually it does give you another pinnacle. So you want to do that once a week. But the first time I ran in it, I got kind of like that, Endgame Avengers feel. I got kind of like the Lord of the Rings Storm of the Castle feel. I kind of got like everyone's all hyped up, and they did it. They did a 12-person activity. Now, how they did it, I know the arenas are kind of small. They're not like, they're big, but they're small. Like there's only the 2 areas, and we're all kind of just together, and there's not like tons of stuff going on. Mechanics wise, it's more just lots of enemies. But I even got a little emotional the first time. I'm like, this is the end of the Light and Dark saga. This is what happened. And do we want to talk about what happened?
Spoilers are wide open. Yeah, I want to talk about the end cutscene too. Because we didn't mention it last week because we were respecting people. Our policy when new content comes out is there's no spoilers for an entire week in our Discord. There is a spoiler channel if you want to go to. You can talk to your heart's content among other people who don't care about spoilers. But it's been almost 3 weeks now, so swing away, man.
Yeah, but the activity was good, and it's the actual gameplay. It's not something I really care to go in again and again. It wasn't super interesting, but at least as far as being an after mission to capstone the whole story, and the story element of it was amazing. And then you defeat the witness and you go to this cutscene where we found out the last thing we had to do was use our ghost to use light power on the witness when he was really low. We had to take him down first and then just drive him the rest of the way. But then what that did was kill our ghosts.
Yeah, that was one of the cutscenes.
And then we're like, no, our ghost is dead. And then what do you know? Cade 6 comes back for one last hurrah.
And I said this last week and people were like, what the hell is he talking about? There was something I knew about Cade as soon as we entered the Pale Heart, because he didn't have any light powers. Supposedly. I saw some stuff that he did that seemed like was light enabled, but I knew Cade was not going to leave the Pale Heart. I knew from the very beginning this was going to be a one-time deal with Cade. And when he finally sacrificed his light or whatever energy he had to fuel our ghost back up, he was basically giving himself to the ghost. We carry Cade around on our shoulder all the time now, right?
Yeah.
That
I don't have the guts to tell my wife about this yet because she doesn't play Destiny much, but she does sometimes come back for the big expansions. And she was really happy to see Cade 6 again.
Yeah.
And she's playing and having fun. And we were about halfway through the story. I'm like, oh boy, she's going to be so happy, but then be so sad again at the very end.
I hear you, man. I hear
He's gone again for good.
Yeah. And it's okay though. I mean, I'm okay with it. I was at peace with it, and I feel a little piece of him is with us now. So, yeah, I just don't know if they could have Nathan Fillion doing voice lines forever. He's pretty big. And what did you think of, I always get this wrong. Keith David. What did you think of his voice lines? At
first, it was really good when you don't hear him talk tons. Right. I know we had little previews and cutscenes even leading up to final expansion or final shape. Mm. But it was a little rough for me at times when I would hear longer voice lines, or if you had to bring the inflection higher or lower than what, what's his name did. And it wasn't like a big deal. It just really kind of made me remember, like it was sad
jarring.
that
I thought it was jarring too. When you would hear lines that you could hear Lance Reddick say that you remember in your head, and you expect to hear it, and then it's a little jarring. But I love this actor, man. I love Keith David. He's I saw him in Nope, and he played one of the main character's fathers, where he gets shot at the beginning of the movie. He's not in it very long, but man, I've seen a lot of his work. I just love him as an actor. He's a very good actor, and I'm a fan. I'm a fan. So we'll see how long he does the voice lines for Zavala. And we're going to get him some speculation down before we leave tonight. I promise you that.
Okay.
I definitely want your opinion on that, but
excellent.
So end-to-end story. What'd you think of that, man? First end-to-end story. In fact, you tried to leave it, and Bungie would go, "Wait a minute, bud, get back in there."
Yeah. You mean like how I rated, or like just
no? The campaign was I think it was one of Bungie's first end-to-end missions, fully contained. Because I don't think even Witch Queen they would make you go collect certain materials in the Throne World or something, and come back. But not with this story. Saying, yeah, not with this story.
Yeah, I mean, they did have us go into the Lost Sectors and the strike, but it was very strong in the story. In the past, they'd do the strike, but now they actually have voice lines that were fully tied in. And on that aspect, too, it was very, when you say end to end, I'm also thinking on the map how we're progressing. We're going from one zone to the next throughout this whole story.
Right.
And it's excellent. We're reaching our way to the tower where the witness is, and it's just amazing how it all was end to end. It played very well.
Well, I tell you what, let's take a quick break here, and we're going to talk our experiences in Paleheart when we come back. I got to take my mandatory bathroom break. I'm sorry, Kingsley. We'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Hey, Guardians, would you like to send a question for the show to us? There are 4 ways to do it. First, you can join our Discord server at discord.gg/Guardian Downcast. There's also a join link in our show notes down below. We have Guardians from all walks of life and all over the world, from new lights to day one players to hardcore gamers. There's also a channel labeled Podcast Questions where you can type in your question for the show. So come hang out with us. You can also email us with your question at guardiandowncast@gmail.com, or we also occasionally post about our upcoming show and guest, and you can respond there with your question at Guardian_D_cast is our X handle. Finally, you can send us a voicemail with your question at guardiandowncast.com, and we might play it on the podcast. Think of it as talking with us right on the show. Thanks for listening, and later, Guardian. All right, I'm back. Nice and refreshed. I wanted to pick back up on the conversation, Kingsley, when you were done playing the campaign. Then it was all about the Paleheart, right? It opened once you did the wild card mission. You played the 12-man encounter, which you can replay, by the way, as many times as you want. It's the beam that goes to that mission. You can access it all over the Paleheart whenever you like, and it match makes it. You don't have to try to find 12 other people. And I just wanted to hear what you thought about the Pale Heart, your first experiences going into it, and then we'll talk about what we did together on the Pale Heart.
Yeah, the Pale Heart is amazing so far. It was one of these things that it reminded me of things like Forsaken and maybe Taken King, but like you finished the last mission, and we did have to do that exotic mission a little bit too, but then you go back to the map and it's like boom, 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 boom,
Yes.
like all these things are popping up, things to do. And I'm like, this is what I want to see in a location, because the story can be amazing, but what do we want to do afterwards? We're not going to just be playing the story 10 times in a row. We want to explore. We want to do little quests. We want to, grind things in this new location. And they sure did a good job with that. These overthrow things, which are like the public events, but really it's an amount of either kills or things you do to get to a certain level. But there's so many mini games and things to do. And I know we were doing some together, having a lot of fun doing these. And it's pretty amazing. I'm still running into, I feel like I've gotten most all of them. But even this week, a couple of nights ago, I ran into a new mini game in the impasse that I hadn't done yet.
Really?
Like, boy, I wonder how many more I might still be missing. Actually, brings up a good point. I wonder if someone's made like a guide of all the different possibilities.
There's a lot of mini games. Yeah. And I'm with you. I was, after we ran our dual Destiny mission, I said, okay, it's now time to farm chests, because you can run it. Oh, you only have to do it with another player the first time. And, and then you can go farm chests, which is perfect for me, because I'm the patrol guy, man. I'm going around. I'm grabbing for these overthrows. It's not only just kills that add to the points, and they give you like it reminds me of, Escalation Protocol, where you're trying to fill the little squares. Yeah. And you move to stage 2 and then 3, and then the big baddie boss is at the end on stage 4. And, you get 15 points for any resource node you pick up. You get 25 points for any chest you open. I think you get like 150 for doing the minigame chest.
No, 500.
Oh, that's right. That's right. And it's 1,000. You only have to get to 1,000 for each level. So you can imagine if you're playing mini games, man, you're going to get through it quickly. And you can do it all solo too, right?
You can. Yeah. In fact, this too, I generally like having people around. Like, I don't have the issue that you have with like people stealing my kills or whatever. But in this case, I actually do kind of like being solo, because it almost makes sense, like story wise too. And we're just kind of like, think of the Pale Heart as like this dream that's catered for us as a Guardian. And we're trying on our own to overcome all this. And yes, they do have a single match-made zone that rotates daily. But the funny thing I've noticed there too is I kind of feel like, I could be wrong, but I kind of feel like the match-made one's not any better, because if you're not near someone else who's doing a mini game, you may not get the points for the chest. I kind of feel like that was happening to me. But anyways, I like being there solo. It's not too hard or too easy. There's a lot of stuff going on. You can matchmaking with friends, like what me and you were doing at one point.
Yeah, you can bring, I think, a fire team of 3 with you, I think.
You can, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
It's good. It's good so far. The only thing I didn't like about Overthrow is when I had to do it, right? Like quests that say, like we keep saying we'll talk about this, but like with Dual Destiny, we had to do some overthrows. But
just go into it. Yeah, we can blend into it. Well, go ahead.
I want to do overthrows because I want to do them, but not because I have to. But yeah, with Dual Destiny, we had to.
Well, let's just explain how that works. Everyone was wondering how do you get this mission where you can go get this is the exotic class item that they promoted with the final shape coming. It has nothing to do with the season, because that's the first thing I asked him, because we had to do one of each of the overthrows and was it one of each? Like,
yeah, there's 3 zones.
There's 3 zones, and we had to do an overthrow in each zone. And then once we did that, supposedly, once we completed all those, it got to level 4 on them, then a green beam of light would shoot down, and we would run to that, It's like in a cave. It's kind of a little hidden, but if you just follow the green light, you get to it and you'll see the mission right there and you can join in. Now here's the one kicker though. You have to be with another player. You have to have a second player with you. And the reason why I think, it's obvious because there's a lot of puzzles in this Dual Destiny where you have to work together. You have to make call outs. You have to shoot symbols, right?
Yeah. Now to clarify, you don't have to be with someone else when you're doing the overthrow, but when you start the mission, yes, you have to be with someone else.
Oh, good point.
And a couple other things that we didn't mention is it's not just get to level 4 in each zone. After level 4, there's an extra little group of enemies that appeared this week. Right. And they're called the Wish Keepers, or what are they called? No,
they're witches.
Sabathoons. It's Sabathoon. It's something to do with Sabathoon, and they'll spawn near the Lost Sector zones. Not exactly by the front door, but generally in that area, and you have to kill that extra group of enemies, and you'll get a little saying above your super bar that says the something keeper has been vanquished.
And you only have a little bit of time to do that, right? You have to do that pretty quickly.
You only have a little bit of time, and you have to do in all 3 zones. And then I also found out, I don't know if we did this or not. Do you know if we went to orbit in between? Because you have to do it without going to orbit before the green light will appear.
I honestly don't know. I know maybe that's how many we did. We did, I think, 6 of them.
I know, because we were having issues.
Yeah, we finally see the green bar, and I'm like, it didn't even make sense, Kingsley, because we didn't even complete our 3rd one, and here's the green light. I was confused.
Yeah. I was too, but we got it. And when I've done it since with other people, it's worked well. So the only thing I can assume is maybe we went to orbit in between, or something else happened. Who knows? But it's kind of a slog leading up to it, but then also kind of cool because it's like this secret mission. It's kind of like how Whisper was first found. It was like a total secret. Someone's like, hey, go here and do this thing, go through this portal, and then eventually you'll be in the mission. Well, that's kind of what we're doing too. We're doing this thing, doing this other thing. And then eventually, though, we do get to put down a flag mission starting flag, so that at least we don't have to do the pre-stuff again, and then we can just go directly into the mission.
And full information here, 1995 is the not required, but recommended power level.
Recommended, yeah.
And you were at, I think you were at 1990? And I was at 1975?
Probably when we did it, like high 1980s. I'm 1990 as of yesterday. Okay. But
I think I ended up being like 1979 or 1981 when we finally got it done. But I'll tell you what, man, I've played all the special, exotic missions, whether it's, the sniper rifle or escalation protocol, or, not escalation protocol, the one for the pulse rifle,
the outbreak. Yeah.
Outbreak Perfected, the 0 hour mission, which I love that. I loved all the stuff to do. And that's the reason I didn't get my black shader, is because I was so busy getting everything unlocked for that. And that rifle's been buffed. It's a beastly weapon as well. But it took me, I'll kind of talk about how we got it done here. You contacted me, I think on, I want to say Wednesday or Tuesday night, maybe, and said, listen,
it might have been the first day. It might have been Tuesday night.
It might have been Tuesday night. Reset. We had heard that people are finding, word got out to how to find this mission, how to get it done. And I think it was like middle of the day because I think we were both off, and you messaged me and says, hey, have you gotten this thing yet? I'm like, what thing? And we started working on the overthrows. And then the green beam wasn't coming. And I think we gave up that night, and said, all right, we'll just try again tomorrow. Something may be bugged. It's just been released. Maybe there's a bug or something. But then there's people on Twitter showing they got it and stuff. Anyway, we came back the next day, and I think we got into our second one, and then there's the green beam of light. So I don't know what we ended up doing wrong, but we ended up doing 6 overthrow missions before it finally showed up. Level 4 plus kill the boss at the end. And, man, I gotta tell you, of all the exotic missions, this one it wasn't too difficult. It wasn't a walk. It wasn't where you're just walking through pushing stuff away. It was always active, always busy. and you both have to work together very well for it to happen. And I think it took us 3 tries on that mission before I finally got it. You had unlocked it with Bell, I think, earlier. And I said, listen, dude, this is bugging me. I need to get this done. But it was so difficult because we run out of time. You know, I love timers. We ran out of time. A couple times we ran out of time. The second time I ran, it was right after work. I was tired and I was dehydrated. I think I died like 5 or 8 times, and I could see you were a little frustrated. I was like, I know you don't get frustrated, but you're like, we had a lot of deaths. That kills a lot of time. I'm like, you're right. So we came back and tried it again that night, and finally, easily, with like 12 minutes left, we got it done.
Yeah, it was easy at that time. Yeah.
But, you want to explain what is involved?
Yeah, I would love to.
Yeah, please.
This is probably my top 1 or 2, worst case 3 favorite mission of all time right now. And they did an excellent job with this. Now you have to go in with only 2 people. It can't be 1. It can't be 3. And there's reasons for it, because when they say dual destiny, there's mechanics that are made for just 2 people. The bosses, they're dual bosses. There's 2 bosses. Like everything, you're getting a dual exotic class item where there's 2 perks on it. Everything about this makes sense while you go in with 2 people. Hence the name.
Makes sense.
So, yeah, it's not a walk in the park, and there's some mechanics, and you have to be somewhat fast. However, this one is a little more forgiving than pure timer missions, because each area has its own respective timer. So even if we were slow in one room, we go to the next room, and then the timer resets again. So really, most people only have problems in the boss room, if at all, with that part. And I just love everything about it. We're giving call-outs on symbols. We're matching them and shooting them. We're reading nodes around a clock. We're matching those and shooting them. We have 2 bosses. One is stasis. I hate the stasis one. Yes. One strand.
The strand lifts you up forever. You're like, please, can you let me down, please?
I know, but the stasis one I hate more than the strand one. Just I feel like maybe it just does more damage to me or something. But it's just so lively. It's like you go into that boss room, and each boss has 3 damage gates. But in here, I love how the damage gate system works because it's so interactive. The first boss comes out, you take him down a third, and then you do mechanics, and then you shoot him down another third. And then he goes into like a timeout, like a jail, I like to call it. Then the other boss comes out, you take him down a third. Then you do mechanics, you take him down another third, and then he goes into jail. And then you do this whole clock thing where both sides kind of match up, and then it releases them both from jail. And then you take them both, they're both out at the same time, the grand finale, and you're taking them down the last third. And they're chunky. You have to put a lot of DPS into them.
Oh, and by the way, while all that's happening, that Kingsley's talking about, you have threaders trying to yank you with their strand. You've got flying husk, I guess they call them, the bats.
Yep.
They're coming around. They're disorienting you all the time. You've got taken Vex snipers up in the upper back areas shooting and pot shotting you as well. And
ogres even came out at one point.
Oh, dude. And then you had the taken knights that came out. I mean, that last room, it was really hard to focus because there was so much coming at you. But once you simplify what you need to do, and you kind of calmed me down because I was freaking out. I was like, man, I can't even stay alive right now, Kingsley. And you're like, well, just go somewhere where you can just heal up for a second. And I changed it. I did a few different builds. I put what is the solar, aspect? I put that on. So I had, not only did I have an arc buddy with my gauntlets, but I also have now a mortar firing, solar orb.
Buddy,
So I'm just, that's helping a lot. And, I kind of fine-tuned stuff where I was able to do, but I tell you what really worked for me, Kingsley. I used the call. The call was good. The call is a very good sidearm. It's good at knocking out stuff quick, but I tell you what ended up working for me, because you have ads swarming you all the time. And that is this new grenade launcher called Lost Signal. And this is a different kind. It's called an area denial frame. It's 72 rounds per minute. You fire a 5-shot grenade. Like, think of a Wither Horde, but not quite as powerful. It doesn't, and it's all it's made to do is just keep your enemies away from you. And eventually they do get damaged and die. That made all the difference for me.
Oh, good. Yeah. And I know that a lot of us are up on the call and it's an amazing gun, but you got to work with what works for you. And I'm not big on grenade launchers. Well, I like heavy grenade launchers for certain things, but I don't have any good experiences with secondary grenade launchers, but I know they work well for people. Like I was never a Witherhoard guy. I was never these other secondary grenade launchers, but hey, if it works for you and you feel comfortable with it, then you roll with it.
I had an unrelenting quick draw. I was using implosion rounds, I think. It had hard launch, but the only downside with this thing is the reload speed is, it says it's 65, but man, until you prompt it, it will not reload very quickly. And, this is something you can craft this season. I am definitely getting auto loading holster for this thing. This thing will be a beast once I have that, but, that's something I'm looking forward to doing. And there's all kinds of crafting weapons again. You know, I love it. I think they should open everything up to crafting, but I get that there's bandwidth in the games and stuff, but.
So two things. I know a lot of people in the community are upset that you can't do this mission solo. And I want to push back on that some, because it's not normal for any game to not have some hard stuff in it. I get being frustrated, and this isn't unprecedented because we've already had other exotics that we can only get in raids, and that takes 6 people. So I don't know why we're complaining about a 2-person thing. I get it, but there's so many people in this community that'll be willing to help you, and you only have to run it once, like you said, and then once we get you through it, then you can farm chest solo.
And just to mention,
please try to be okay with it.
It is available on Fireteam Finder. Just want to throw that out there. If you absolutely cannot find anybody, you can go through that. It is listed as an exotic mission. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No worries. And then the other point, and I think you may agree with me on this one. So I'll first start off with saying, you know me, I'm usually pretty big on being okay with RNG drops, especially in raids and dungeons, because there's like the one single exotic weapon, right? That's an RNG drop or whatever. But for this mission, with these exotic class items having 60 different combinations.
Is that per character?
They should per character.
Wow.
There's 60 different, because there's like 8 or so in each column 1 and column 2, and you can do any kind of mix match.
They put that in the TWAB. I just didn't look at it that closely because I didn't know what was going to work good, Kingsley. But now we're starting to get some gist. And can you mention everyone the role you got when you helped me?
Yeah,
you got a really good class item.
But the thing I think you'll agree with me on real quick is that they should not have this be RNG. It should be a punch-out list for every single one, because 60 is just too much, even for someone like me that likes RNG. And that's only if you get a perfect one every single time, like a different roll. Yeah. So I just think this should be on a punch-out list. But
that's a good idea.
What I got a couple not so good ones, but the one that I like so far is, get this, Warlock can now be an Invisiboy.
I got this for him, by the way. I got this for him.
Yes.
He was helping me, and he got this RNG drop.
I got Spirit of the Assassin, so that's Assassin's Cow. I'm like, wait, what? Yeah. And then we have to remember, Bungie told us that each class will now have some, not all, but some of the perks from other classes. Yeah. So Assassin's Cow is now available on Warlock through this mission. So I got that combined with Spirit of Harmony, which is a mental battle harmony. So I can be invisible with either a finisher or a melee. I get invisible. And then with Harmony, final blows with weapons build up my super faster. So It's just a good utility all around.
Mine.
And what do you have for some of your rolls?
I'm looking at it on Dim here, and Dim must not be updated because it's not listing it. At least I'm not seeing it. I'm looking. Oh, here we go. I got Spirit of the Filaments. Casting an Empowering Rift will grant you Devour. And you don't have to stand in the rift. You just have to activate it. And you instantly devour, which is good. Survivability. And it comes with Spirit of Harmony. Final blows with weapons that have a damage type matching your super's element grant you super energy. I'll be honest, this one's not getting me excited like the one you have. I do have one that's a little bit different. It has the Spirit of Filaments again. Like I said, I agree. I think the knockout list is nice to have. And I've got Spirit of the Vesper, where rifts periodically release arc shockwaves. I haven't used this one yet. I picked this one up. As soon as we played, I went and got some dinner with my wife, took a break, because that mission really was rough. mentally, I had to time out for a little bit because we had tried on 3 separate occasions to get this done. And I love it. I love the fact that it was that difficult. It was worth it when we finally got it. And here's the cool thing. If you want to help someone get through it, you can farm it. You'll get a drop just as much as the person you're helping gets a drop. And you can see what Kingsley got helping me. So it encourages people to help others pick it up as well. But it took us 48 minutes, I think, on average, probably 35 to 45 minutes on average. I think the second time around, the last time I think it took us like 35 minutes, but it's a good chunk of time. You're going to have to commit to it. And there's several, different waves you've got to go through and a lot of different mechanics. There's some climbing puzzles and poor Mr. Monkey. Who's going to help that guy? I kid. That would be great.
No,
you know what? I would stream that. And then I can make fun of Mr. Monkey when he falls off.
That's so mean.
No,
Mr. Monkey, I love you.
He picked at me.
I know.
By the way, I was on the Dudes Playing Stuff podcast. It just released, in fact, today. Mr. Monkey, thank you for sending those questions. And those are really touching questions. They were actually spurred a good conversation. And, if you, check out, Dudes Playing Stuff, DPS. I was on that episode this last week. Just want to shameless plug that out there, but I wanted to mention that because Mr. Monkey had some great questions. But the great thing is I want to help people in our community get this. And
yes,
I have all the motivation to do it as well, because guess what? I want all the roles. I want to have, at the end of the season, Kingsley, I want to have at least 20 of these things with different roles. Don't you? I
do. And even the knockout list is just a minor complaint. I'm not that salty. I mean, I'll just run it with random rolls, but I think this is one of the best missions they made. And the fact that you get another guaranteed drop, the fact that it's a pretty fun mission, moderately difficult, all the above just makes it like an A+ in my book. Such a good mission.
Yeah. I was playing, probably 15 to 20 under, like contest mode, really, when I played it, because I struggled. I died a few times, and it was stupid stuff like somebody pushed me off. I wasn't paying attention. But if you fall, once you get a few times under your belt, we kept getting a little further. And then finally that third time, I knew exactly what I was doing wrong. And you had played it more than I had with other people getting it for them. So you had a good repetition too. And that last room, we knew exactly what to do. Our communication was on point. I knew to keep moving, stick and move. Don't sit still. If you're flat footed in that last boss room, man, they will go to you so quickly. You will not last. So, but overall,
who won in our 1v1?
Yeah. I said, I heard you're supposed, you can just claim peace. Well, you know me, man, I'm a button masher. So first thing I do is let's play. And I'm like, oh, I was supposed to do peace. And you're running around. And I'm like, I think I shot you with a grenade launcher a couple times. And you were jumping around. I actually was impressed. I couldn't kill you. I was like, man, and you're very tanky on the 1v1 at the end. Spoiler alert. You're going to have to play against your partner. It's a joke, really. Ultimately, it's a joke. It doesn't affect how anything ends, but it's kind of a funny quirk. Savathun's a little jokester, right? So, she's making fun of you. She's toying with you in this mission, and you hear her talking to you throughout the mission as well. So, wow, the clocks, all the big bosses that come at you. You get a lot of the new, husk, coming at you, the big bosses of the what do they call them? The tormentors? Dan, a lot of tormentors. What is the intermediate one called? What's that intermediate one called?
Well, they're not tormentors. They're subjugators, I believe.
Subjugators. And you have omens who are just annoying. There's several different, but yeah, Bungie just nailed it. They have a new race. Really cool exotic mission. I didn't even like the wild card exotic story mission. That was good too. I haven't used the rifle yet because I don't have golden gun. I'm not a hunter. I'm a warlock. But, and I know I can still use it independently of that, but I heard it stacks with it. It's definitely good to be a golden gun hunter if you have that. But here's the thing, man. I wanted to make sure I mentioned this to you tonight. I still haven't taken Transcendence off. This is an amazing subclass.
Yeah, it is. And that is a good point too. I went into the expansion not expecting I would love or hate it, but I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try, and then maybe I'll go back to the other thing. Kind of like what I did with Stasis. Now, Strand I kept on for a long time, but I don't think anyone has. Like, we've all been enjoying Prismatic so far, and the Transcendence grenade that it comes with. And again, maybe when we're in raids, we'll need some other meta loadouts, but maybe. But Prismatic's been amazing. Really good.
You're going to have Transcendence, which gives you so much flexibility on what you want to use, and you can mix and match dark and light elements. It's just really, I'm really impressed with these. I haven't even gotten all the fragments yet. I'm working on those chests. But combine that with the exotic class item, which gives you 2 different exotic perks as well. Man, we're going to be so powerful going into all this stuff. It's just, very memorable. Thank you for running it with me, being patient, because it was definitely up in the upper skill level as far as getting through some of that stuff. And like I said, once you get to know what you have to do, it makes a big difference, and it's much more enjoyable. And I'm ready to run it. I'll run it again if someone needs help. I think you got to have somewhat of a higher light power. You can't go in with like 1920. I don't think that's going to be high enough. Even if you have someone at 2000, remember it does bring you up in 5 less, right? So heck with that. Forget what I just said.
It does.
If you have a friend that's, 1990 or higher, run it with them. I'll be there I'll be there in a few days. But, anything else we want to mention about the Pale Heart before we move on here, Kingsley?
No, we did a lot. I know there's going to be more,
so much
I'll let you save that for future shows, but I at least wanted the things I really wanted to talk about. I was able to blurb out, but it's been immensely fun so far.
Yeah. The Pale Heart I haven't even discovered everything yet. I've been playing it a lot as well. So looking forward to farming more chests or running it with, some fellow community members. I'm sure Warcry is not going to have his crap together. I'm going to have to hold his hand and get him through that to get he's going to want that for Crucible too. I know it. But, man, it was such a memorable, week playing in the new Pale Heart now that it's open. You know what? I think it's a good time to take a break here, and I think it's time for this week in Destiny.
Hey y'all, this is Sin from the Guardian Hub podcast, the best hub on the net, and you're listening to the Guardian Downcast, the best cast on the net.
Yeah, I'll Venmo you that later. All right, this week in Destiny for June 13th, 2024, man. Time just is flying right now. This is from the Destiny community team, and they mentioned the Journey Ahead video, which popped up after, it was a Monday before the next reset that came out with that video. And I want to mention that later. I'm going to table that for now. Congrats to, Team Parabellum for the single. I think they were the only fire team to get it done in that 19-hour span. And I think it was a lot longer for everybody else, but, kudos to everyone who got that done. Team Parabellum, we weren't even streaming, and, just shows you there's some really strong players out there that aren't streamers. So, I want to mention this. Grandmaster Excision is coming next reset tomorrow as this podcast comes out. Kingsley, what do you think about it? They actually mentioned it twice, that it's going to be very hard, but it's going to be worth it in the reward. Are you going to do this, man? You going to jump into this?
I don't know. Well, maybe. I mean, first of all, Grandmasters have never been as appealing to me for all the harder things in the game. I would prefer raiding or dungeons or things like that. Not like I never do Grandmasters, but because this one is interesting and different and new, maybe I'll jump into it. But I kind of shake my head like, why? Why are they doing that for this mission? It's, I mean, they are doing it for the new strike too. But it's kind of really interesting that they're doing it for this mission. Now, when we find out what this reward is, maybe a lot of us will be even more interested hopping in. But it's a thing. It's kind of odd to me. I don't think it's bad odd. I just think it's strange odd that they're deciding to do this.
Yeah, and I don't, it doesn't even say what power level you'll need to be, but I'm sure it's going to be up there. But I'm guessing probably 2020 or 2050 or something. And it's going to have all kinds of modifiers, I'm sure, just like most Grandmaster Nightfalls do. I don't know. I'm going to sit back and see what the reward is first. Dude, that's what it is with me. Mm-hmm. I really, the Revision 0, I ran all that to get all my catalyst for it because I love the weapon. It's all about the reward. The, Outbreak Perfected mission, I ran everything on that because I wanted all the catalyst unlocks on that. If the reward is worth it to me, I will grind for it. And I'll just have to see what the reward is. But it's going to be there next reset tomorrow. So good luck, everybody. And I think you can pre-match, get your team of 12 if you want to bring your killers in there. Or you can just do a match.
I think it's going to be 3 players because it's Grandmaster.
Is it going to
Grandmasters are always 3 players.
No,
it doesn't have to be 12 just because we did 12 when we played it story element version. I could see them just doing 3 players.
What? You don't think it'll be 12?
No, because they even said earlier that they don't recommend people going into the mission to do like catalyst kills and stuff because they're basically admitting to us they were barely able to do a 12-player mission.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that they used the word Grandmaster, that's always meant 3 players in the past.
Oh, well,
I'm glad it's going to be 3 players.
I'm glad I read that. So it'll be just like a Grandmaster Strike, but it's going to be an Excision mission. Man, that is going to be epic. That's a lot coming at you with 3 players. It's going to be a lot of deaths. And then you might get booted. Oh, man, I don't know. I'll sit back and I'm going to, you know what? You kids have fun. You kids go out there and kill it. You guys go out there and show us how it's done.
And, let us know how it is.
Yeah, future Grandpa will just sit here and watch you guys. I'm sure someone will stream it. I'll see what you get in the end. And if it's worth it, I may see if I can appeal to some of the killers out there to help me out. We'll see. The new season has dropped, Echoes. They had the launch trailer. It just came out, actually at the same time, actually a little bit after the Road Ahead video that they released on Monday. And we're going to talk about Echoes after this. We'll talk about our first week of Echoes. But the thing I want to talk to you about, Kingsley, is Xur. Xur now is permanently affixed in the tower. He doesn't move around anymore. Thank you, because I hated having to visit all 3 of these areas to figure out where he was going to be all the time. But I'll just read what they say here. After all these years, Xur has finally opened a permanent storefront in the tower, and he has inaugurated it last Friday. It's not too shabby, and it's well located just to the right as you enter the bazaar of the courtyard. Check your map if you're having trouble finding him. It's basically right. It actually had a seasonal event there one time. It's just right across from our Ikora, just so you know. Look where Ikora is, turn around, face the wall, and just keep running, and you'll see an alleyway. It'll take you right to him. He'll be again here Friday to Tuesday, as is tradition, but his wares have changed as well as the currency he accepts. Xur has gone back to trading only in strange coins. Another economic unit. Earning them requires a different path. They are no longer awarded in Dares of Eternity and Paraversal Halls. Instead, players can now earn strange coins upon completing Vanguard, Crucible, Trials, Iron Banner, Gambit, and Onslaught activities. That's good to know. He has a reputation and reward, a reward track, just like a lot of the NPCs in the tower do. It exists separately from the one in Eternity, so spending strange coins at his shop will add progress to the new reputation system and earn reputation rewards up to a whole exotic cipher, which from what I hear, that is the thing to get right now. This is an additional source of exotic ciphers and is not replacing the Xenology quest. Good to know. There's this thing called Loyalty Program of the 9. Xur will also acknowledge our patronage by offering a buff that bolsters strange coin acquisition. After you spend 47 strange coins, he will grant you access to a stack of Strange Favor. Strange Favor is a buff that offers a chance for bonus strange coins to drop anytime you earn a strange coin. So say you get 4 of them playing Crucible match, winning a Crucible match, you could possibly get 8 of them. While you acquire 1 per week, it has an 11-day duration. If you keep earning Strange Favor every week, you not only stack the effectiveness of the buff up to 3 stacks, but it'll also refresh the duration. So make sure to acquire your Strange Favor each week and rake in those strange coins. I'm correcting myself here. If you say you get 4 for winning a Crucible match, I think it means you can get 1 more, right? Is that right, Kingsley? Or is it one for
right.
one?
It was a little over my head too.
Yeah, I did. You know what? I did check him out. I noticed, because I have another character who needs all kinds of stuff, and Zur always filled the gap there. And I went there and I'm like, what is all this stuff? You go there, you look, he has 2 exotic weapon catalysts. He has an exotic weapon availability. So instead of just one random exotic each week, there are 3 random exotic weapons available for sale, separated by weapon slot. Plus the Hawkmoon is always there, by the way. There's legendary weapons and armor like he's always had. There's a strange wild card offer, a peculiar category of items that aren't usually sold by other vendors, such as ritual engrams will be offered by Zur. This slot of items is randomized every week and is purchasable once per week. Keep an eye out as there may be some unique and valuable items available on any given week. Strange material offers. I tried this. I had a couple strange coins and I got a blue class item. I'm like, okay, I'm out. Strange gifts with a low price of 1 strange coin. That's the what I'd use, the strange gift. There'd be a way to clear out leftover strange coins for a random item of modest value. And it is very modest. So unless you just got a strange coin that's burning your pocket, I will just have to see how this turns out. But what do you think about this new way they have, this set up, Kingsley? I mean, they have a reward track. I guess the more you spend, the more the reward track goes.
Yeah.
Kind of like the Ingram, what is the Ingram holder? The Cryptarch?
Well, look.
Yeah.
The Cryptarch, yeah. At first, I don't love the idea because I'm super bored of the ritual activities, being in Destiny for 10 years now. Yeah. I mean, Onslaught will probably be the one I'm most interested in. So I'm like, I don't love the idea that that's the main way you earn them. Now, again, though, if you are earning any, be sure to buy the upgrade loyalty card right away, because then you'll get more the next time around. So I guess if we keep that going, it's not too bad. But funny live update here, I started doing the wildcard system.
Yeah.
And I did get a blue the first time too.
Right.
But there's actually some good things. I popped they're only 1 string coin each, and I had about 84. I'll tell you, I've only popped about 8 so far, and I've gotten about 12 upgrade modules.
Really?
Because they come in packs of 2.
Okay.
No, sorry, 6 upgrade modules and then 12 enhancement cores.
You know me, man.
So there's actually some okay rewards here. You may want to check it out.
Okay. Was that that's a strange material offer, right?
That is the strange repeatable offer, the wild card thing.
Okay.
That's only 1 strange coin cost.
I see.
And yes, I'm getting a couple lame blue things in between. Oh, I just got a raid banner. There's some really interesting things in here.
All right. Well, we'll check back in with Zur and see how that works out. And I'm sure they'll tweak it depending on, what they need. I tell you what, I'm going to be using this for, Kingsley. And I don't know, you have the game open. How much did the exotic catalyst cost? How many strange coins?
Yes. So yeah, I would use it for that too, but I have both of these this week. It's Arbalist and Bad Juju. Mm-hmm. And they cost 71. So they are more expensive.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah.
How much are the exotics? The exotic
exotics
armor?
Are 41.
Okay.
41.
Okay. And then you have like a random engram there. It looks like in this picture, it looks like a Gambit engram. 3 of them.
Yes, just random Gambit engram. Okay. That's 31. And then if you go into the extra screens, you can buy, if you don't want to play the lottery system, you can buy enhancement cores for, you can get a 3-pack for, I'm trying to figure this out here. You can get a 3-pack for 21.
Okay.
Wait, yeah. Or what? Or an 11-pack for 17. Wait.
That seemed kind of pricey for strange coins. I don't know how many. Do you know how many you get when you play Crucible Vanguard or?
Well, I don't, and that's the thing. And maybe when you get the upgrade card, they'll drop like candy. Who knows? True. I mean, I had 81 saved up, but that was from previous Star Horse stuff.
Oh, see, I didn't have any. I didn't play much of that stuff after I got so bored of that. Especially when they launched into the screen every time you brought a new character in, it just was so annoying. I think for me, it's going to be the Catalyst because, you have to wait for those to randomly drop in game. This will definitely speed that process up. So that's probably what I'll be spending mine on with my alt account.
You can get 5 enhancement prisms for 31 strange coins.
That's not bad. Okay.
Yeah.
There's some good value here then. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll have to see how quickly I can accumulate in playing, because Iron Banner will be here before you know it. I'll be playing all week when that comes out. They didn't mention it, by the way. I'm not saying it's out next week. I'm just saying when it eventually will come. Just patience, Grasshopper. Okay. Well, I'm just going to sit back and see what happens there. I know I have an alt account. I've got just about all the exotic stuff, and I've got almost all the catalysts too on my main account, but this will be very good for players who are coming in late. Maybe have taken a break, taken some time off, that are trying to catch up and get a lot of this stuff. Hey, at least it's not just a lame duck thing we visit and go, well, there's nothing here for me to get. So did want to mention they have a new Rat King ornament. Kind of weird they're promoting an ornament for a gun, but it's there. Mentioning that. And then we come down to the player support report. So Kingsley, what's going on in the player support report, man?
Lots of things are broken, more so than normal, because it's, hey, look, when there's a new, I'm sorry, I didn't say it how you wanted me to say it.
No, let's roll with it. I'm good with that.
But honestly, people, there's going to be a lot of things. Look at the list. We don't have time to go over it tonight.
The list is so long. Longest I've ever seen.
But nothing too game breaking. This is all the normal. You would expect a lot of small things broken when a new expansion comes out.
All right. Looks like Cosmo did this, because I do see a kitty pic. Thanks, Cosmo. Wink, wink. Thank you, Destiny community team. You're nailing it. Bungie, you're nailing it right now.
Destiny's coming back.
It's a good time to be a Destiny player right now, everybody. Well, hey, let's get back to our conversation. We're going to talk about the latest season, Echoes, right after this.
Yo everyone, this is Sweaty Spooks from the Blueberry Lounge, and you've been listening to
Guardian Downcast.
Be sure to tune in every week to see how the guests will score the speedrun, and better yet, join the Discord. You just may receive an invite to be on the show yourself. Later, Guardian.
Act 1, Episode 1, Echoes. This is a spoiler alert, but at the very last scene, and I went to ask you what you thought of that, Kingsley. At the very last, you're sitting there on the edge looking out at the Traveler, and Bungie says, gives you something in Latin, and thanks you for playing their game. And then you hear Crow chimes in with some news about something going on in the world. And then you see these three, I want to say starburst or stars or something shoot out from the Traveler into space. Mm-hmm. And apparently those three things are three locations randomly not randomly, but those are going to represent the three episodes going into the rest of this year. And so we're discovering one landed on Nessus. There is some strange energy sources on Nessus. Things are changing around. Things are not right. There's earthquakes still going on there. What do you think of all this, Kingsley? I know I'll share what I think, but what do you think about the first week? This is the first week, folks. First week of the episode.
It's in some ways it's about what I expected. In other ways, it's slightly better than I expected. And then in other ways, I'm still worried about long term how interesting this will all be. Mm. But look, we have our new season. It's called, the Echoes we're dealing with Nessus and the Vex. And I'll first start off in saying they did a good job with the cutscenes, and I love that Failsafe is back. The humor there is off the charts.
And we've basically moved her to the helm now. So now that's our hub where we, there's an unlock bar, a seasonal unlock bar for her, and we do certain missions. We gain reputation. There's bounties. Of course, there's bounties. We get reputation for completing those. And they're basic bounties, just like Season of the Wish, right? Get arc kills today. It was get 25 arc kills or something. So,
although I wish the bounties were rep, they're only XP. But
they don't give
rep.
Do they give rep?
I'll double check right now.
No, they do give rep.
When I was,
because I completed one. It's just rep. Season
rep on the bar for the vendor. I only saw XP, but maybe I was wrong on that.
I did see an orange orb that increased because Season of the Wish. You remember back Season of the Wish mission? I know you probably didn't do bounties there, but I did them all the time. You would get rep when you turned them in, so not a lot of rep, but like 10 or something. So, but what do you?
I just figured because they didn't say on there, but maybe they give rep anyways because I always expect them to say rep if they do.
No, let us know in the show feedback channel, everyone. Let us know.
And when I'm checking it live right now, it only says for the rewards it's XP, but maybe they are giving rep also.
Okay.
Anyways, this is about what I expected. I mean, of course, unless the game was getting shut off right after we defeated the Witness, we had to have cleanup. And so this is the way they did it was like we have cleanup, which is basically this shard of the Traveler, I don't know if it came from the Witness or the Traveler, whatever, but it's like these starbursts, like you said, that came down. And now there's a power vacuum. They said this, like the Witness is dead and there's a power vacuum where there's going to be some big Vex boss that we haven't reached yet. That'll probably come later in the season, but we're dealing with the first aspect of what's happening in the universe afterwards, and it is on Nessus.
Yep.
And I'm like slightly interested. I'd say the activities are so far a little bit better than I expected, although I don't personally have a lot of reason to run them over and over. The weapons rewards, which are always secondary to me anyways, are less interesting than the final shape weapons. So I don't know why I would run these activities tons after I've explored them. I always love the exploration aspect. And I still have a little bit more there to go. We can get into the activities if you want first, or I don't know if you had any overall thoughts.
Of course, there's an activity, of course, just like Sundial and every other season we've ever had. There's always a 3-man activity, I believe is this one. And, it's matchmaking. And, that's one of the steps of the mission is you got to go play the activity. What did you think of this activity? I mean, it's in a kind of confined area. It's on Nessus, and underneath underground areas and stuff.
Yeah, I like it so far. I like it. And actually, here's another little bonus thing. Mr. Monkey will love this too, because this is one of ideas that me and him have that we keep telling Bungie to do. This is the first time, well, not the first time, but they're reliably, the harder levels on here are match made. You don't have to go in with the team.
That's true.
And we keep saying, like, let the expert versions be match made. If people struggle, then they know they need to come in with their own fire team with friends that they can talk to, but at least give them an option to match make. And sure enough, they did that this time. The expert level, which is 2005, it's match made.
Right.
Anyways, this activity is fun. You go in, you're killing stuff like normal. You're doing fun things where you pick up the Vex head arc beams and you shoot them at little circles in the sky. Motes come down, Vex motes come down, data packets they call them, and you collect them and you bank them in a thing. Pretty normal stuff, but the way they built the arenas are pretty interesting, at least so it doesn't feel... It's a normal Bungie activity that we may get bored after a few weeks, but at the same time, I think they did a little bit better than I was expecting they would do on this, and it's called Breach Executable for this first main activity.
Yeah, and I got to that point. It's the only thing I have not done for the season. I saw the 2005 power level, and it even said, we recommend you level up a little bit more. I was like, you know what? I'll take that advice. And I went back to the Pale Heart. But I did everything.
So that other one. Yeah.
Yeah, I did everything. Yeah, the other, that's the one I was referring to, the one where you have the geysers.
The Enigma protocol.
Yeah, the geysers.
The breach executable is the one, yeah. Yeah.
They have geysers too? Okay.
Wait, I'm sorry, which one? Okay, I might have
Sorry, I know.
The first one is called breach executable, and that's the one that's the first part of the main story.
Right.
Both are match-made, actually. And then you have to do a little not secret, but like a side quest where you collect things, and then they both have harder versions too, but the one that's a lot harder is called Enigma Protocol.
Enigma, that's the one. Enigma Protocol, yeah. This is the one I have not run. Yeah.
Correct, yeah. And you may not like it, because let me tell you, there's crazier jumping puzzles than even the Dual Destiny, and there's a timer throughout the whole thing. Now, you can build up time on the timer if you kill enemies or shoot nodes. That'll add time to the clock. But if your team isn't on point killing enemies fast or shooting these extra nodes, the timer continues to run down. And when I was matchmaking with people, I even got a little frustrated a few times. You run out of time, it just takes you back to orbit. This is a pretty hard seasonal activity.
Okay, well, I mean, it's not a pushover activity.
The rewards are good.
That's good. Now, do they reward you with the new Echo's weapons, or is there something more?
Lots of stuff. They have double chests, and there's a halfway point and there's an ending point. And there's double chests both times. Okay. And yes, they will give you those weapons. And on the final chest, not only that, they give you weapons with dual perks.
Okay.
On the third and fourth column.
So, okay. So it
is kind of worth it.
There's a reward.
Yeah. But I don't know. I mean, I did it once with one group on day one. Here's a little trick too. If you want to have the best, I've noticed this over time with Destiny, the best experience with a match-made team, go in on Tuesday, because that's when all the tryhards are in. Okay. If you wait till like Thursday night or Saturday day or something, you probably won't match-make with killers as much.
Okay.
So if you want to get these done, go in on a Tuesday and you'll have a much better chance.
The gamer dads like me team that are working through the week. Yeah, I get it. People are like, okay, I need to go ahead and, everyone has their own time to play this game. And I don't know. I don't feel like there's a lot of FOMO here for me, than in previous seasons. And, maybe it's because the seasons are longer now. You have Act 1, you have Act 2 and Act 3. Now the Echoes last all the way until October 8th, by the way. So we got a lot of time here. October 8th. I mean, that's when the very next episode will be dropping. So we've got a lot of time to get through this. And just my overall impressions, I jumped in and played it. I got everything caught up to, of course, it's time gated. So you get to a certain point where she's like, well, failsafe is, she's examining, she's looking over stuff, and, she'll just contact you. It's like, geez, this is Mara all over again. And, but you know how you collected fishing, in the Season of the Deep? Well, now you have a terrarium. It just kind of appeals to me. You're collecting these plants that you show off in an aquarium, a dry aquarium, in the helm. So I thought that was a nice little kick, nice little extra for the season. I'm curious to see what kind of plants go in there, but being that they're not real plants, it's probably not going to appeal to me much. But the activity I played on reset day, so I probably had killers with me. I thought it was pretty easy. We were running through stuff pretty quickly, and like you said, they have different difficulties, and I just did what I needed to do to get through the season. I mean, let's face it, man, after that beautiful story and final shape, this is kind of an afterthought to me. And I hate to say this, as much as Bungie nailed the final shape and the Pale Heart and all the activities that are involved with that expansion, the seasonal event, I'll just have to see what opens up. And I'm going to definitely make sure that I get everything done on the Pale Heart first and help people get their exotic class items and stuff first before I really care too much about the seasonal content. But like you said, I thought I did get a few of the weapons, and I got the new auto rifle called Veiled Threat. It's a little clunky. It's a 720, and it's a lot of recoil on this thing. It's very chunky when you shoot it. I have collective action and loose change. It's not the greatest roll, but it has a base recoil direction, actually with With the counterbalance mod, it still has a 70 recoil direction. It pulls hard to the left. So it sounds good. I love the sound of Vex weapons. I did get the new scout rifle as well, called the Time Worn Wayfarer.
Did you like that one?
It has a little bit of recoil too, though. It has a lot more recoil than I'm used to, the exotic ones.
It does, but if you get used to it, it still hits pretty hard. And
it's a 120, so it has a lot of impact. And I have precision instrument and dual loader, which that's not too bad, I guess, for a scout rifle, but it has max impact. So I guess, like you said, Kingsley, once you get the cadence down on how to shoot it, I think it'll be much better. But that really is all I've gotten with the seasonal weapons. I love the look of them. I just hope that I hope there's some better I get some better rolls. But like I said, I played what I had to. Now I did get the new revamped Patron of Lost Causes. If you remember, this is from Season of the Dawn when we talked to Saint 14. Remember all those shiny chromy weapons? And I got one with Vorpal Weapon Rapid Hit, which is not bad for a PvE roll. It has this perk called Cast No Shadows. Dealing melee damage increases this weapon's handling and loads a small amount of ammo from reserves. So maybe this is worth, not having a unsunset version of it. Maybe it's worth getting the new perk on the new version. It is a 200 lightweight frame, and I've always loved this scout rifle. It is like butter. 84 recoil with a counterbalance mod on it. It's almost straight up and down. So, have you gotten any weapons that you want to mention that stood out for you, or?
It's mostly, I need to play around with the hand cannon a little bit more to see if I like it or not, but the scout I like. I think it'll be very situational, mostly if I need a solar scout and something that hits hard. But most of the rest of the things, I'm not much of a grenade launcher fan, even though you liked the Lost Signal swords. And, they're good. Swords are good, but very situational. And then, I don't know. And then, I'm not interested in the auto at all. And then, I'll check out the hand cannon. For the reprised weapons, Line in the Sand, that was the meta for so long back in the day, the linear fusion rifle.
Yep.
Maybe I'll pick up a new version of that just to have in case down the road, You
never know. Yeah,
becomes,
that's true.
Linears.
Yeah, there's a lot of new weapons. Like I said, the new exotic frame, the support frame, no hesitation. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. So I probably have enough to craft those. I'm just waiting to unlock my harmonic balancers. And that'll probably be the first weapon I craft, because you can't beat it, man. If you're running some hard content, like sooner or later we're going to jump into that raid. It'd be nice to be able to throw little healing orbs at your teammates, to keep them alive. So it's nice having a support role for a change. And the Ergo Sum, we got to talk about this, because this is the first exotic special weapon sword, and it has some crazy ass rolls, man. Think of some of your exotic weapons, heavy weapons even. There's one I heard with Wolfpack rounds where it's a caster frame, shoots a solar wave, and then once you hit an enemy or kill an enemy, then you have Wolfpack rounds that come out. I have a Void one. This one I've been having a lot of fun with. It has the insectoid robot grenades, so when you kill something, these robot grenades, just like the exotic, the little insectoid. Yeah. What is that exotic?
I forget, but it almost reminds me too of like Telesto boats. I know it's not exactly, but
well, there's another one that has the exploding orbs, like the like that one Void.
Caster one. Yeah.
The Graviton Lance has those kind of grenade launch, those kind of detonations after it. There's some really cool stuff here. I've got 6 of those Ergo Sum swords. I'm just going to have to play around with them and see how they go. But that's definitely something I wanted to mention weapon wise. That's really standing out for me right now. But I've really just scratched the surface of this game so far. There's so much left to do. I'm just so happy we're able to get the exotic class item. That has just been so much fun to get. But anything else that I'm forgetting about the first episode Echoes, the first week, Kingsley?
Well, you may have talked about this some, but also we can talk about kind of the cadence of things coming out and what benefits or downsides there may be. Now, of course, at first glance, there's the downside of them being longer. They're 4-month episodes versus 3-month seasons.
Yes.
And that's only also if Bungie doesn't have to delay, things on the third one, but True. We'll get to that later on. But, so far the pacing is a little bit better than I expected because with these 3 acts, I was kind of trying to speculate looking through and triumphs and everything. And it looks like there could be maybe 4 weeks of story but there's only 6 weeks of the act. So they kind of average. Some are going to be 5, some are going to be 6 weeks, but, all in all, it's basically 4 months with 3 acts in it. And the good thing is like that kind of fills it up with having 4 weeks of story and then only a week or 2 off. And then you go into the next act. Yeah. Well, guess what happens in the next act? There's actually going to be a new activity or something changed. Yep. In fact, in the third act, there's a rumor of an exotic mission or something. And this is all within just the first episode.
I heard about a dungeon possibly.
Yeah. Well, dungeon is something different. That has nothing necessarily to do. And I don't know if that's coming even in this episode.
Maybe it's the next one we're talking about. Maybe I'm ahead of myself.
Where there's 2 episodes, there's 2 dungeons throughout the whole Destiny year.
Gotcha.
And, you buy them through the annual pass thing. But I'm even just talking about like exotic mission and other things that will be changing with each act. And then also, you mentioned this before, but you get the 100 levels on your season pass bar. And then in the next act, you get another 50. And in the next act, you get another 50.
So we'll get 200. That's good news.
And even for someone like me that is generally bored by the season pass bar, I'm not going to complain if they're giving me more things. And another 50, hey, it's a reason to. And then, of course, another a line. What is it? A 5th and a 6th column on our artifact also.
Yep. That's added. We get a new column for every act. So, yeah.
It'll actually be a 6th and a 7th column.
Yeah. So our artifact's going to be much larger too. Yeah. That's going to be cool. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. So it's going to keep me busy.
I am too. Yeah. I don't think we can keep this going forever. And I want to talk about that more at the very end of the show.
Okay.
But
yeah. Let's do that.
But so far, I'm a little more impressed than I thought I would be, and just wait to see in the long run how things are.
That's a good way to end it right there. So that's episode 1, Echoes Act 1, week 1. So not a whole lot to talk about yet. I'm sure we'll get into this in later shows as we proceed through this new episode format. It's all new to me. It's all new to all of us. So we'll just have to see, I guess. Well, Hey, I've got a topic of the week that I'm just dying to talk to you about, Kingsley. So, hey man, let's get over there and talk about that.
Hello, Scumdeath here, your favorite uncle, and you are listening to the most heavy metal Destiny podcast on Earth, Guardian Downcast. Guardian Downcast! Yow!
All right, for our topic of the week, I got to thinking about this because a lot of people have been comparing expansions and kind of ranking expansions of Destiny 2. And I got my little brain working, and I said, you know what? I would like to talk about how is the Paleheart compared to the Throne World? Because if you think about it, the Witch Queen campaign was a very good campaign. It had a very good story mission. It is very similar to Final Shape in some respects. I'm not saying they're the same. I think Final Shape was definitely much better. But what I wanted to do is I wanted to compare some of the things that both worlds share, and then the positives of the new Paleheart, and maybe even positives of the Throne World that we didn't think about. So, since Kingsley and I have both played the Throne World and the Witch Queen expansion from 2 years ago extensively, and now that we both jumped into the Paleheart pretty well, like I said, we ran 8 level 4 overthrow activities trying to get that dual Destiny thing done. I'm just curious, is the Paleheart just another Throne World with a new coat of paint? Or is it something totally different? So I will start with this. I'll open up the conversation here, Kingsley. There's some things that I think that the Paleheart and the Throne World both have in common. Both worlds, I think you can agree, have a lot of mysteries to unlock and discover. There were a lot of mysterious stuff that we had to go through and unlock in the Throne World, and I'm just now discovering things in the Paleheart as well. Both worlds have 3 lost sectors. I quite enjoyed the ones on the Throne World as well. Both worlds have resource nodes that tie into a reputation system. Both worlds have hidden games within games. Both worlds roughly are about the same size. I would say maybe Paleheart is a little bit bigger. Both have the regional chest, but the Paleheart has the regional chest that tie into the Kvostov exotic mission. So what do you think, Kingsley? A new coat of paint, or is this something totally new, the Paleheart compared to the Throne World? I have some positives for both worlds, but I'm just curious what you think when I put that statement out there.
Well, it's interesting you comparing it like that because first glance, no contest at all. Paleheart is way better. I actually have some major complaints with the Throne World, even though I loved that expansion. I didn't love the layout.
No, I definitely hear these.
I felt like it was more confusing getting around on the Throne World, and the mini games on the Throne World were annoying. Finding those little blights you had to interact with, and they weren't obvious where they were. And I feel like everything so far in the Throne World, yes, it's mysterious, but it's not as less obvious as like the Throne World ones were. Throne World looks pretty, but I just feel like the public events were boring. You know, the overthrow things in Paleheart are better. So it was really good for me to have this thought process. You were trying to be a little more fair on both, but I don't know. If I had to rate the two, and then we can go more in details, but I would say Throne World like a 6, but Paleheart a 9. At least as far as just the exploration part, you know.
Let's talk about some of the positives that the Throne World brought first. I mean, the one thing that I would have to say that Witch Queen was a total winner for me was the Enclave. Being able to craft weapons was first introduced in the Witch Queen. And I don't know where you stand on crafted weapons, but my mission and through the entire Witch Queen campaign and even further out was to craft all the Throne World weapons, which in hindsight, probably some of them weren't the best to have to grind to get, to craft, but the crafting is something that Witch Queen first brought to us. And that was a big win for me from Bungie. What do you think? Is that something that was a game changer for you?
Well, yeah, it is, but I thought we were just comparing the destinations. Like, I know the crafting area is kind of a destination, but it's not the main destination. Okay. I think of that as more of a quality of life thing. And if we're comparing quality of life things, we still have the crafting in Final Shape now. And also we have other things like, the interface, like the way they show buffs and weapon things now are so much better in Final Shape.
Definitely smoother.
It's easier to know instead of having like 10 things above your super bar. A lot of things are front and center on the top now. And I love the crafting system too, even though I don't use it as much as you. Obviously, I'm going to use it for weapons I really like, and they have a good role in PvE or in raids. So I'm not saying they should, that was a bad thing that they added by any means. But I just kind of, I see what you're saying, but I'm compartmentalizing that in my mind somehow. I don't think that's not adding a plus to the Throne World to me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I was thinking back of all the things in the Throne World. They did have the solo fireteam exotic missions. In fact, the one I really loved was the Parasite mission. I know the Parasite, people are using it to cheese the Deepstone Crypt raid at the end to get the damage down and stuff.
It's not a cheese. It's
absolutely not. It's just a strategy because it is very powerful. They buffed it, but the conversations between Mara and Savathun, the dialogue was very memorable about how, I mean, Savathun was calling Mara out on the things she hasn't told us that we needed to know, and Savathun made us know about that. So you have the pre-raid area, the preservation mission, where you can go back and farm that. It's like a farming area. You can also get your spoils of conquest for raid. It's a place you can farm it every week. There's fishing. I'm just kidding. They did have chess puzzles. They had the Executioner's Trail, the little magic dust trails. They had special patrols, the exotic special patrols, which admittedly I did some of them, but they were very confusing. when I would do an exotic mission, I would lose track of the trail, and sometimes I'd run out of time and just give up. But that was there at least. There were 3 main areas on the Throne World. You had the Grand Palace, which was the Fluorescent Canal, I believe, the Swamps, which was the Quagmire, and the Pyramid Ship, which was Miasma. I don't know if this is a positive, but they had that evidence board. You collected stuff to get those exotic glaives, which turned out, I've actually played around with those exotic glaives now that they've made them easier to get, and they have some really good benefits. Being able to throw a void bubble down and have a healing orb going around and healing you. I don't know. I might actually start using some of those exotic glaives from that evidence board. Yeah. It was a very corrupted feel. Savathun put kind of her flavor on everything in the world. You had the wellspring activity, which that was hit or miss. Again, the reputation system with the chest and material nodes, which that's the same way it's built with the Pale Heart. The darkness rifts and the true sight. Remember you had to, I think you were talking about that.
That's what I was talking about. I did not like those, actually.
You would follow these rifts and there'd be a big boss at the end that you had, a Lucent Hive, I think you had to kill, or?
There's still some that I haven't done. And
really?
they were super easy and boring, or they were like RNG showing up and kind of like complicated to figure out. And I know some people, probably listeners, like, I did them all. They weren't that hard, but like for some reason, they just weren't that interesting to me. And I don't even have the title yet for that world, because some of them were some RNG weapons that you had to grind. I just didn't care. It wasn't because it was RNG that turned me off. It was just I didn't care about the weapons and going after that. And I feel like on the Pale Heart, there's nothing really I don't want to go after.
That's a good point.
The Throne World, there were things I didn't want to go after.
That's a good point, because I am in the same boat as you. I did not collect all the moths. I didn't get all of the puzzles completed. I think I lost interest pretty quick. I did a majority of them. I got the experience down, but I did not get the title for that world. And I did kind of run out of energy on getting everything done. Now, would you say that maybe the rewards weren't up to par? Maybe that's why you didn't do it, but what was the reason why you didn't do it? Does it just not have any impact on the game, or you remember back?
No, it was like mostly what I said, like those deep sight things were just annoying to me. The exploration aspect was not as interesting to me, and kind of like annoying mechanics. And then weapons are secondary to me, but even that being said, the fact that you had to get 5 hard to RNG get versions of the weapon for it to count, a weapon that I didn't really care about using that much. Yeah. Even though again, that was secondary, it was still kind of annoying to me. So that's why I didn't finish it yet.
So that kind of goes back to my reason, is the rewards weren't really strong. They didn't prove to me that I really needed to grind that stuff out. And I mean, let's compare it to the Pale Heart. Now we can farm stuff anywhere in the world to get an exotic. 65 possible combinations of an exotic class item. That right there, Kingsley, is going to keep me busy for a long time.
Yeah.
And the puzzles on the Throne World, shooting torches and stuff to unlock a chest. It was okay. I got bored of it pretty quick, but it seems like the puzzles, and I haven't even done them all, the puzzles in the Pale Heart, like rolling a bramble into a pit. That was kind of fun when I first saw it. I was like, you're punching it or shooting
funny.
It. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very
kind of fun. Yeah.
The
There's
puzzles,
such a variety. That's the thing too. There wasn't a big variety. I felt like, there was the Witch Queen, like the Savathun, like match the rune things, but I feel like there's so much more variety on Pale Heart.
Would you say that's probably because you have the overthrows, that anything you do in those areas add to that overthrow level? It's constantly going on.
And also even backing up at a higher level, I think Bungie put more into the Pale Heart as part of pushing this back and realizing they had to do more stuff.
Yeah.
Maybe they had all this grand plan all along, but we have to assume they added more stuff at some point when they pushed stuff back.
Yeah. I almost think like Throne World was a test bed for the Paleheart. Because I get a similar feeling. It's a little brighter in the Paleheart. Cause I mean, we're inside the Traveler, for God's sake. I mean, it's definitely it's going to feel different. But damn it, Savathun is still bugging us in the Paleheart. She's hanging around and interjecting and laughing at us and stuff in certain activities. And, I don't know. It just seems like I don't know if we're ever going to get rid of her. Maybe in that third episode, but, there's 4 landing zones in the Paleheart. You have the Blooming, the Landing, the Lost City, and the Impasse. There's 3 lost sectors, the Blooming Deep, Forgotten Deep, and Broken Deep. And I gotta admit, man, the lost sectors are very interesting and they're varied. They don't all look the same. You even have parts of the Last City kind of in one of them. It's, very unique how it breaks out into a city and hallways and kind of like a reimagining, right? Of the Lost City, the Last City.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. And we talked about this too, but like they told us that it's going to have some familiar elements, but it's going to feel different. They did a good job. This isn't just reusing assets and we're slightly annoyed. Like it feels yet so different where we're not upset that they're reusing assets. It looks really cool.
Another thing too is, we didn't get a new subclass with Witch Queen.
Yeah.
We didn't get the stasis and, Strand until Lightfall. So that was another negative because we have a new subclass and not only are all the prismatic chests, which open up all the fragments that are scattered throughout the Paleheart that I haven't even explored all yet. This ties into the ghost stories, right? Where you unlock the prismatic chest.
Some, yes. And then some are even just hidden. Like there's 3 story missions. You can go back in and find little hidden prismatic chests off to the side.
I heard about that. It wasn't in the real world, but you had to go back and play a campaign story to find it. That is definitely different. The convalescence missions. Have you had a lot of experience with this? This is the new vendor on the Paleheart, the, Micah 10?
Yeah. What are they called? The, Into the Darkness or whatever, Light and Dark. I forget what it's called. I have played them. I had to do a lot because is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, the convalescence missions. Right? I haven't even gotten through them all yet. In fact, they had a bug on one of them where I think it was bidding or something. One of the convalescence bidding. They just tweeted out today. Bungie helped it. There was something bugged on it, and they were
interesting. Yeah.
They were unlocking something where you could get it complete. Some kind of bug in the game, but. I haven't even completed them all yet, but it seems like, Micah 10 offers these weapons are really cool, man. They have actual Guardians faces on them and characters on them. Now, are these NPC characters? I haven't looked closely enough. I could have sworn I saw Cade's face on one of the
haven't
guns.
Either.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just general Guardians on it. Okay. I'm curious. I haven't even played with shaders yet. I'm sure it's going to be really cool. Not to mention, you can play the 12 player match made activity, Excision, anytime you're wandering the world. You can just say, hey, you know what? Let's go beat up the witness again. Let's relive it, which I think that'll get boring after a while. I think people are going to get tired of that pretty quick. Even if it's very epic and even if they have a Grandmaster version coming, I still think that may be worn out pretty quick.
I think so too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a thing. And do remember, people, that it gives you a pinnacle each week. So if you're looking to level up, it's worth doing.
That's worth it. Reward, right? I'll definitely grind it if there's a reward at the end of it. But like I said, man, I gotta say the overthrow activities are really the difference maker for me because you can run around in there. And that's another thing. This is the first world that is a solo instance. You can bring a fire team of 3 in with you. You can all have fun doing whatever, going to different areas of the map or whatever independently, or you can play together, or you can go in there by yourself and it seems like everything was just kind of laid out for us it was like a playground of just doing all kinds of things solo. And I know people think, well, Gator, you always do stuff solo. I just enjoy solo. It's wandering the worlds and doing these little mini puzzles and chests, killing these bosses in certain areas to unlock Pathfinder, veins to get to the final, exotic sword. It's just worth it to me. It seems like they're valuing the time that I'm wandering around this world in the Paleheart. And I never got that from the Throne World.
Exactly. With Throne World, also even more so, I did some exploring at the beginning, but then I mostly just did things because I had to, because it was for a certain thing.
Yeah.
But like I was kind of hinting to at the beginning, I didn't love necessarily doing overthrow when I had to do it over and over and over, but even just some today and some tonight, I'm going into overthrow just to zone out, just to have fun.
Yeah.
Then I enjoy it.
Yeah. Fluffy Fingers MD sent me, I think he, at me in his Discord, the Potato Thumbs Discord, and said, bounties are back, baby, or patrols are back, baby. I'm like, yeah, man, it's going to be fun just wandering around. You know, I've been doing that for years, just wandering around and listening to it's just my escape. It's my escape. And what I had to do that in the other worlds is I would have to adjust my clock I'd have to manipulate my clock on my PlayStation 5 in order to be the only person in the instance, which shouldn't have to do that. But now I don't have to worry about that with the Pale Heart. I'm going to spend so much time on this world. It's just really going to be really nice. But these 2-player exotic missions, like I haven't even done did you want to talk about that mission? The exotic, trace rifle? Did you get that one done?
Oh yeah. That is the one thing I haven't done yet.
Okay.
Now there are at least 2, but you should go in with 3 because it's a lot easier with 3.
Oh, you can bring 3 in it?
You can. Yeah. The only thing that only requires 2 is dual destiny, like you were saying earlier. But these are called, they're on the map here. They're called the cooperative, whatever, you know.
That's what I got to get done to get to my level 8.
And it's what you have to get done to get the microcosm.
Okay. I haven't gotten mine yet either.
Heavy trace rifle. And basically what they are, I've done one of them, but I need to go back in and do the other 2. And they're the last 3 missions of the story. And they're fairly difficult, but not like too bad if you've done them a few times. I mean, know how the mission layout is, but basically the reason why you need at least 2 and you can go in with 3 is you have to pass a buff back and forth between you and another player.
Oh boy.
And what's happening, and you have to keep communication so it counts up, and then at 7, someone has to take it from you, and then it goes to the next person, and then at 7, it goes to the next person. And if someone doesn't take it by 10, then you die, but they can't take it earlier than 7. So the whole time you're killing enemies, running around, and you'll be like, Sin, wait up, I'm at 7. And then, you pass it to the next person. And then you're running, killing some more. And then they've added other mechanics where you and a buddy have to shoot 2 nuts in the, kind of like above. One in one room, and there's a line that goes over to the other one, and the other person in the other room, and you have to shoot at the same time. So 3, 2, 1, and then you both shoot it.
Okay.
And then it opens a shield that's around something that normally wouldn't have a shield there. And it's a higher pyro level too. So all those things combined make them.
Yeah, I think Bell and I think Bell was playing with some. I think who was he playing with yesterday, trying to get it done. I saw him in game. He popped in to say hi. We were trying to get our dual destiny done. But people are working together, trying to get it done. That's one mission I haven't done yet. And now I know what that means by that requirement on my I didn't know what that meant. I was looking around for it. That, what is it? Coordinated or co-op something?
Coordinated cooperative missions or something. They're on the map, like on the lower right-hand corner. If you look at the Pale Heart map.
Good to know. I don't have my game open, so I can't look at it. That brings me to a good point here while we're on this discussion. It seems to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong here, starting with the Final Shape story and now a lot of the stuff we have to do mechanics wise in the Pale Heart for some of these exotic missions, does it seem like they're trying to train people to get better at these mechanics so they can get into raids more? Do you think this might be an indirect way of pushing people into raid mechanics? Trying raids? Unfortunately,
I don't give them that much benefit of the doubt. I think it's more the opposite thing where they want to make these locations more interesting, and so it's from top down, and they're taking the mechanics that were already in the raid, and they're bringing it down.
That's too bad.
Because honestly, these are light raid mechanics, and it's not going to train people that much. Okay. I guess it might a little bit, but just from being a raid Sherpa, I just kind of know that even though people are used to doing these things, and if they get used to them, there's so many more symbols in the raids, and there's so many other things going on. I don't know how much it's really going to help them.
Okay.
Now, someone tell me if I'm wrong, if you feel like that's going to help you a lot in the raid, but that's just my guess.
Yeah, good point. That's a good point. I just was curious, the fact that they're integrating a lot of raid mechanics into the story, into these exotic missions, and even in the Pale Heart, parts of the Pale Heart, you have to do some of this stuff. I just was curious if they were trying to get people more comfortable with mechanics versus just shooting and looting, So, I don't know.
Potentially, but I think they just want to make it more interesting.
Yeah. There's no fishing. No fishing in the, not yet. No fishing in Pale Heart. There's some Lost Ghost. I haven't gotten all those yet. The Ghost Memories, I'm working on that as well. A lot of stuff I haven't done yet. I'm still got to get on my prismatic chest to get more of my fragments. And I got to do this no, wait a minute. It is account wide. So once you open those fragments, it's account wide. So I can use it on all 3 characters. That is a great thing that they've changed. I remember when I did Strand, my Titan and my Hunter did not have all the fragments. And the only way you could get those fragments, which a lot of them were identical to the ones you used on your Warlock, is you had to go around and kill stuff with Strand, especially Strand abilities that wasn't even powered up on Nessus or any of the worlds. And you would get these little prisms that would drop, the Strand prisms. Remember that? And you get 200 of them. You go to the Puka Pond and you turn them in, and for 200 you can buy. That was so annoying, man, because I had to do it on all 3 characters. And then at the end, they realized people were bogging down on that, so they cut the price in half to 100. And right before the season switched to the final shape, I got all of the aspects and fragments. But guess what? Now it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even matter, Kingsley, because I got this new subclass, this new Transcendence. I can use, it seems like when you put a regular light or dark only subclass on, it's like you're limiting yourself. I think this might be the way things go forward, man. All they have to do is just keep opening up more fragments or more aspects or different stuff from other light and dark. Can you see that? It could definitely get bigger and bigger.
If they open more, I think the prismatic subclass is a win for sure. And there are going to be, like, you can't do the well in prismatic subclass. That's only available on pure solar, subclass. And there's other things that you can't do, but they put a lot of good ones in there. Including the new supers, like the new Song of Flame Warlock and the new Titan one and the new Hunter one. And so I could see, like, is Golden Gun available in Prismatic subclass? I don't think it is.
I don't have my Hunter unlocked yet.
I don't know.
On my Warlock.
If it's not, then for sure Hunters are not going to be using Prismatic in raids because Golden Gun is so valuable. At least some Hunters will not be using it. But like you said, they could add more down the road. So it doesn't mean just because we don't have it right now that we'll never get it.
I could see this expanding into maybe even through the episodes, because keep opening up more and more Transcendence. I can see that happening because right now we have a limited number of aspects. Then it's tied to, there's one for each like subclass, and there's one for each darkness subclass, Strand and Stasis. So it would be nice if we could get a lot of the other aspects without having to go to just that class setup at all. I could see this really being the future as they unlock more and more stuff. I really don't want to put my Transcendence down now. I get so much flexibility in how I play the game. I'm not tied to be in a well. And this is going to be even more reason why, and the fact that they nerfed well. We are going to be, us Warlocks are going to be very hesitant to bring a well into these. I mean, why? We have guns that can heal people now. But yeah, I understand.
That's
well
true.
Is still pretty
powerful.
And they
nerfed well some too, so I hope we don't have to actually. I think that's kind of the way they're going.
Yeah.
That being said, when I was watching people raiding on day one, there was still some well usage because it's not like it's not helpful at all, and people were just wanted every little extra bit they could use, even though, it was nerfed a bit. But I don't know. We'll see. It's really, really early to say, but yeah, definitely the prismatic subclass is a win in my book. So,
anything else you want to mention about the Pale Heart final shape? Because I have one question for you that I did not tell you I was going to ask you.
No, go for it. Yeah.
Well, we saw the Journey Ahead video. Bungie released that this past week, and they just teased 2025, the code name Frontiers for year 11. And they did specifically say year 11. They did specifically say 2025, and they did specifically say Frontiers, but there was a Destiny 2 emblem next to it, not a Destiny emblem. Wasn't a tricorn. It was a tricorn with a 2 next to it. So my question for you, Mr. Kingsleymac, what's Frontiers?
My guess is probably going to be pretty boring. I'm sorry, but I bet it's what's going to happen. I've been right with all my predictions so far, by the way.
Okay. I've been almost right. Almost.
Can we admit now that the witness did actually die?
No.
Do you finally admit that?
No. You know why? Because when the witness was falling, all it said was, "Wait, I don't understand." And I didn't hear, I heard, "Wait."
Oh my gosh, Cater. Okay, you're making a bad call here. I'll show you 5 lines in the game, actual text, plus voice lines that say, "Now that the witness is dead." Bungie has told us like 5 separate times the witness is dead.
I know, I heard those lines too. So maybe the witness didn't win.
I just had to bring that up because that's part of this discussion.
So what if the witness didn't win? Yes. All right, fine. I'll give you that one. Someone's got to ask the question. What if they decided, I heard someone else talking today about, what if the raid race kept going? Would Bungie be ballsy enough to say, well, you didn't delay the witness, so the witness wins?
No, they would just push back the final mission until the raid race finishes.
But I heard someone say that today. I was like, you know what? That would be ballsy of Bungie. But just like someone else told me,
like they didn't get it done in a certain amount of time or something.
Yeah, one of my past, you're from what I heard from the Salvation's Edge is you're delaying the witness from doing something to the Traveler, and that's all I'm going to say. I don't want to spoil it for anybody who's wanting to jump in. Well, it's on a clock. You're on a clock. Every encounter's a clock.
Bungie told us several years ago the Lightness and Darkness saga is going to end. What other does that mean other than the witness has to die? It's not ending unless he dies.
But yet we still have Ghost and we still are using light and dark powers. So I don't know.
No, well, it doesn't mean Lightness and Darkness is gone. The saga is done.
All right.
Yeah, the saga is done.
All right, I'll concede. I'll concede for now.
Yeah.
We'll see. And I'll concede. Okay, the witness is gone. We won't have to deal with her for a while.
Here's my prediction for Frontiers 2.
Yes.
So don't be sad when I'm right a year from now. But
so it's
a realistic prediction. But okay, so you're right. It's Destiny 2. So sorry, people, but there's no way we could have expected a Destiny 3 or a Destiny Online by next year. At earliest, that'll be coming 2 years from now. Okay. So this is going to be a continuation of Destiny 2 stuff. Now, I don't even think it's going to be an expansion, unfortunately. And let me tell you why. It's just going to be more episodes. Now, there'll be cool episodes. We're going to be going out in the frontiers. But think about this. Let's use the logic for a second. 2 things. One thing is they never use code names for expansions. They always just say it's the Witch Queen expansion. It's this or that. And they will often tell us that a year ahead of time or whatever. Point 2. There's no way they would have another expansion a year from now. Every single time we've gotten delayed anywhere between 3 months to 6 months. And if they delay 6 months again after this thing, it's going to be 2026. It's not going to be 2025. And they're promising us 2025. So I think the only way they can promise that is if these are just episodes and not an expansion coming next year. And I'm okay with that. Look, it's not sad, people. We should get used to year-and-a-half cadence for expansions. I think that's a more realistic expectation than every year. And then we won't have our hopes up that we'll get a new one every year. So that's some people think pessimistic but realistic point of view. But it can still be really cool. Probably what's going to happen with Frontier is we are going to go out of the solar system because we've done the cleanup on our 3 little episodes here. We're going to do the Vex one and then the Fallen one and then we're going to do the Hive one. And maybe I know a lot of people are speculating this. Yeah, I know a lot of people to me, I don't care if this happens or not. I'm just happy. I'm just happy we're going to the Dreadnought anyways. But so many people think what's going to happen is on the last episode, we're going to navigate the Dreadnought and use it as a ship to go to different frontiers and different solar systems.
Well, think about it, Kingsley. They mentioned the armor in that video. It's a pilot armor. It's an armor that the pilots of the Dreadnought wore. So I'm just saying.
But we also get Vex armor this season. We're not turning it a literal Vex.
Well, that's true.
But to me, I don't care if we use the Dreadnought or not. In fact, it'll be a little bit weird because the Dreadnought's very dank and dreary looking. And I don't want that to be like our main ship going everywhere, but whatever. If we use it.
It has a Cabal ship sticking out of it. I mean, come on.
I'd rather use the helm than the Dreadnought for as far as looks go, but I guess it'd be cool to have the Dreadnought. Maybe what they should do is they should have the Dreadnought as like a navigator ship off to the side.
Yeah.
But we also still have the helm and everything.
Okay.
But I'm more interested in, I do think we will potentially, why not? What else can Frontiers mean? We have to it would either mean like some Frontiers of back in time, but I still don't want to go back in time. Or what I'm hoping it means is it's some kind of Frontiers of a different solar system. And let's get another year, 2025 to 2026, of episodes that bring us to, it's kind of like an intermediary. Think about we're going to another solar system where we're just barely getting our foot in the door. And we're starting to deal with some new races that maybe they just sprinkle in a couple things. And then boom, sometime in late 2025 or 2026, they tell us Destiny blah blah is coming out, the whole new big thing, and then we'll finally have the big new thing.
I'm grinning.
That's my prediction.
I'm grinning because that's exactly what I predicted several episodes ago. Go back and listen. I'm just saying. Now here's, and I'm gonna even add more why I think you're correct. With a caveat. We'll see. We're gonna be June of 2025 when we're done with the 3 episodes we have here, because they're longer.
If nothing gets delayed.
Yeah, exactly. We got to take that. We got to assume that everything is going to be on time. So that puts us into June of 2025.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think the problem with that is, from what I can tell, Marathon is coming out in 2025. They've been trying to push it. Sony, I'm sure, is breathing down their neck to get this thing out there. They brought in a new lead for the game. It's going to be a hero shooter now. That really scares the hell out of me, by the way. So I'm not a fan of hero shooters, but that trailer that I watched, the original trailer, that song was in my head for 2 months. It was such a great song, great soundtrack to that trailer. But being that you can customize all your gear and then shoot other people, it was like a looter shooter, but PvP. That really got me excited because I love playing Crucible. But now they're switching gears. So I think what they're doing is they realize, we're out of time, guys. We need to just get this out. And I'm really worried for Marathon. I really am, because the hero shooters there's a ton of them out there already. And unless Bungie has some secret sauce that I'm not thinking about, I'm a little worried about Marathon's launch. I think it'll be successful at first, but I don't know if it has staying power like Destiny does. So I'm thinking, as a company, Bungie is thinking, okay, we do not want to compete with ourselves. Marathon, 2025 is going to be the year of Marathon. We're going to really push and promote Marathon hard. We're going to keep our player base, our loyal play base over here at Destiny. We're going to keep them busy with more episodes. And that's what Frontiers is going to be. Frontiers is going to be probably another set of 3 episodes. They'll have tested the 3 with us that they already are releasing now, and they'll probably tweak them a little bit. We talked about some of the things in the episodes that we didn't like already. Maybe they'll tweak that, or maybe they'll tweak Xur, or any of the changes they made. They'll tweak a little quality of life stuff to keep us enthused. I agree. I think Frontiers will be something that is going to be I think of these 3 episodes as kind of like a prologue. We got through the end of
cleanup.
Yeah, it's cleanup. Exactly. Yeah. We're finishing these loops. These little loops, we're going to get these done and push them out of the way. They're out of the story. And that leaves Bungie to go anywhere forward. And Frontiers does not tell me that they're going back in time to play the Battle of Six Fronts. Frontiers is not the code name.
Please no.
Yeah. So, and I would be okay trying that and going back and hearing, I talked about this a long time ago. We don't really know a lot about Ikora. It would be really nice if they Disney-fied it a little bit and actually did a whole episode on a certain character. And that's the one thing I loved about Final Shape, is you can dissect and get really into some more character development. And I don't know if Ikora is going to be involved in the future or not, but this might be a good transition piece. Somehow we're going to be moving into another realm. And I think all this is going to do is set us up for Destiny 3 in 2026. But here's the caveat. If they stick to their time schedule, that means Destiny 3 will be coming out in summer of 2026 if everything is on schedule. I think what they're going to do...
No, it can be later. They could push to fall or whatever.
I think they're going to push to fall again. I think they want to get back on that fall schedule. I mean, people say they don't care when they release stuff, but summer is a tough time for games. People are on vacations. People are outside, especially up north, doing stuff with their families. Video game prime time is the fall. It's getting toward Christmas time. People are trying to buy gifts for everybody. It's a good time to push a new game or a new expansion or whatever. I agree. I don't think there'll be another expansion. I think this is the last Destiny 2 expansion we'll see. I think we're going to get to more episodes in 2026 alongside Marathon. And it would be really nice if, Bungie really put more effort and quality of life into the Crucible. Me and Hazel argued about this all the time. Hazel said the Crucible cannot go away. And I would say, well, if Marathon's out there, they don't need the Crucible anymore because that's where all the Crucible players are going to go is play Marathon. But if Marathon doesn't have that staying power, then I have to agree that maybe Crucible needs to stay in there too. So maybe Bungie eyeballing Crucible because that is the ultimate end game. I mean, I know rating is for you, Kingsley. For me, it's playing Trials and playing Iron Banner and playing Crucible against other Guardians because every game is totally different. And I won't go down that rabbit hole, so to speak, but I think it's exactly what's going to happen. It'd be nice if we did some kind of piloting of the Dreadnought and then maybe dumped it and went and made another area on a new planet and made a new base or a new Last City or Last City or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
My imagination just goes everywhere.
Sounds good to me.
So
yeah. And I think it's just mostly the 2026 for the new Destiny thing. It's not, to me, it's a little more boring. It's not because they don't want to compete. I think it's just because
it's a necessity.
I think it's just because it's not ready. It won't be ready until 2026.
They have seasonal teams that put the special seasonal events together. They have teams that are in charge of each episode now. So, and they probably like Call of Duty. They probably alternate the teams. One does one, another does two, and then one goes back and does three. Probably flip flop it. That's the way Call of Duty developers would always do it with their games. So that way you're not burning out your teams.
Here's one other thing, though. The other thing that adds some complication to this whole scenario is when are they going to drop last gen consoles? Because they should have done it already, in my opinion. I've had this on my high horse for a while now, and they could drop it next year with Frontiers, but that's getting kind of an awkward period. Or if they drop it in 2026, whatever the big thing is, then you almost wonder. Because by then, even the PS5s will be getting longer in the tooth and the Xbox Series X's and stuff. And
PS5
they've really kind of shot themselves in the foot with this. I mean, maybe what they can do is just drop old gen support with Frontiers or the new thing, but then they better move quickly when the new consoles are.
Well, maybe
not that they need to drop PS5s right away, but I'm just saying they better not go as long as they did with the last one.
Now, I hate to use the E word, but what if Frontiers is their chance to test and get the new engine built for Destiny 3? What if that's their transition time, and that's when I think they would probably drop last gen consoles?
To make so you can, and we've had this discussion before too. Yeah. You can either make usually what games do is when you say new engine, it's more like they rebuilt the engine, but they don't like rebuild all the code. So it's really just kind of taking the current engine, but updating it for like features that next gen consoles have and stuff.
Yeah.
And that's what we can't do right now. Yeah. They did the graphics engine. They told us that a few years ago, but they didn't do the base engine. And so I guess all I'm saying there is like, they can update the engine and make it better or make a new engine. That's not what's so important. Either way, you'll come with the same effect. But what they have to do is they have to drop the old gen consoles because that's holding stuff back. You can't make a better engine either way if you're making a new one or updating one.
That's true.
The old gen has less memory, it has less CPU. The 30 frames, it's going to crash more.
Yep.
We didn't talk about this, but one of the known issues in the TWID is some Xboxes are getting thermal issues erroring out.
Oh.
And I'm guessing it's the older Xboxes. And then I really get upset. I'm like, why are they still allowing it on the older consoles if they're having thermal issues? Like, that's really telling Bungie they should have gotten rid of them by now.
You know, I think I can answer that question. If we didn't have a pandemic and PS5s had a shortage, and Xbox Ones and the other one, I don't even remember the name of it. The updated version, but it's not quite as strong as the Series X. If there wasn't shortages with chips back in 2020, 2021, I think we would be talking about a different issue right now. I think the next gen consoles, I think the last gen consoles would have been dropped earlier, but I think the pandemic, I think stalled that, maybe stalled a lot of gaming plans as far as phasing out the consoles. Destiny 2, phased out the last gen, right? You couldn't use a PS3.
Yeah, they did with Rise of Iron. It was the third year of Destiny 1.
So they can do it in between a transition period then.
Of course they can, yeah. And they should if it's the right choice. That's why I feel like even the pandemic thing, I mean, that was 4 years ago now at this point. They could have done it last year. They could have even maybe done it 2 years ago. That might have been pushing it a little bit. Yeah. Or they could have done it for Final Shape. Now, I guess that logistically that makes the least sense because people would be really upset, right? So maybe that's why once it got closer and closer to Final Shape, they're like, well, we want to let the few people that are still on PS4.
I don't know, man. I bet you there's more PS4 and Xbox One players out there than we, I mean, they have all the stats, right? Well, they know who's logging in.
I don't know. But like, if you look at the whole Owl Sector Alliance, which we have a pretty good sampling of people, like between your Discord and all the other ones, let's say just 2,000 total, just as a sample. Yeah. There's really not that many people on PS4 that I know of. Well, I mean, I can only think of like 3 or 4 people. Maybe there's a lot more, but
yeah. I know one particular member who refuses to get rid of his PS4. I won't mention any names. But no names. There is a ball that is played that his name goes by in a lot of Europe. Anyway, yeah, good conversation, man. I think really think I think they're going to use 2025 as a build up episodes to get us ready and hyped up. I don't know how they're going to do it, and maybe they don't even know yet. But I'm curious. But I'm on the same wavelength as you on this, and that's rare because we never think alike when it comes to predicting things for the future of Destiny. I'm a little bit out there usually, but I think, like I said, I don't think Bungie wants to compete with themselves in 2025, and I think this is a good balance. As they need to really get Marathon going and see if they can get that to be a mainstay for them. And, right now, Destiny's their only moneymaker, so.
One last thing on that. I wouldn't put too much worry into that. Ubisoft competes against themselves all the time when they make lots of games that come out at the same time. Yeah. Yeah. So I wouldn't worry about that point too much, but, yeah. But, I think it's just a more boring answer. Destiny just wouldn't be ready. Not that they don't want to compete against themselves, but that's fair. It's just too many things to do at the same time. Not saying your point's invalid, but I'm saying some companies do compete against themselves all the time. It's not that weird.
Maybe it was even a Sony call. Maybe Sony made the call on that and said, listen, we're not comfortable with this for 2025. And I think you're right, though. I think they need more time to get it cooking. They need to get Destiny 3 finished up. And I still think there's going to be a Destiny 3. And I think it'll be fall 2026. I think they're going to get back on that Christmas hype again. And, in like September, I'm thinking September maybe would be when it would be coming out. So you can rewind to this episode in September of 2026 and say you didn't get it, Gator.
Well, but the only thing that I'm pretty confident in my predictions as far as the timeline and what Frontiers will be, and that there's not going to be an expansion.
Yeah.
The only thing I'm not placing any bets on myself is it may not be a Destiny 3. It may actually be a Destiny 2 online continuation.
True.
Where they have like 2 different parts of the game carved out, where there's like a new part and an old part.
Okay. Like a Destiny Online.
And you would like that anyways if they end up doing that.
I've been preaching Destiny Online for a long time now.
As long as they have, to me, I think it's just more of a marketing thing than anything. I don't really care what they call it.
Yeah.
As long as they have a new area that only new gen consoles work with that has like new stuff. It's like, it feels like a new game. And if you think about it too, maybe what could happen is, again, where we have the Navigator ship, we have the Dreadnought, and we eventually get fully into the new solar system after Frontiers. And then the new game opens up and it's like a whole new race of enemies, like nothing that's similar. There's no Taken, there's no Fallen, anything like that. but we can use the ship to go back into our solar system and do all the current stuff that we have. So like the current stuff's not going away.
It's a good point. It's a good point. I mean, it's wide open at this point, right? It's wide open.
Yeah.
And I will say
that's
this.
going to be my wild prediction.
Okay.
I'm not like, I don't care to really make that a prediction.
Yeah.
If they make Destiny 3, I'll be perfectly happy. Or if they do this, but I'm not going to say it's for sure going to be Destiny 3 is all I'm saying.
And, and I'm over the engine argument because I don't care what engine they use as long as they still have that same Destiny feel when I shoot my gun. That's all I care about, really. So, yeah. But
we both agree they need to eventually get rid of old console stuff.
I think so.
We both agree that
that'll just help
going to be a transition period for a while.
Yeah.
And then we probably both agree something new is going to come. We just don't know what it's going to be, if it's going to be like a full new game or a combo game.
Well, I can tell you this. If it's anything like what they produced lately in the final shape, I don't think we need to worry about it a bit. Hey Guardians, would you like to give back to our community? If you received any value from today's podcast episode and would like to give back, head over to our website, GuardianDowncast.com, and select the Patreon button to see what extra perks and benefits you can get from the several tiers of membership available. If you would like to give a one-time donation, click on our PayPal button and follow the prompts. Our community runs on our membership, and we never accept outside sponsors or advertisers. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. Just a little bit of housekeeping before we go. Every week I try to do a member shout out. This is someone I've seen in their Discord, having fun, jumping into groups, helping others. And I wanted to give our member shout out of the week, and that is Deadpool1 Merc. Thanks for being a part of our community, sir. I want to give a thank you to all the patrons of our show, whether you're a tip jar patron, a Gatorade patron, or a fist bump patron, or our Dungeon Champion patrons, such as Technical, Raph, Wicked Trinity, Deadpool1 Merc, and our Raid Boss patrons, Jealous, Frostbite, Tilted Tim, sorry, Tim, Laz needs the money, Amazing Taco King, not average, Amazing Taco King, and Nico, aka Jersey. Thank you all for giving back to our show and community. You guys keep our show going with all of our side services that we use to produce this podcast and to create a better podcast for you guys, including our hosting fees. So thank you very much, everyone. I do have a bonus June patron only episode coming out before the end of the month. So patrons, keep an eye out for that. And you can also join for free if you just want to sample, kind of take a look or see what kind of stuff we are offering to our patrons, and check that out as well. Well, that's a wrap. Another episode in our collection. Like I said, we had a great show last week, episode 255 with Nico, aka Jersey, where we talked about the actual Final Shape campaign story by story. So if you haven't seen that one yet, I know there was a lot of spoilers in that one. Head back and listen to that one again. We had a lot of insights as far as each story and what we loved and hated about it. Check that one out. But we have 255 other episodes with interviews from gamers all over our community. And do us a favor. If you like what you hear, the only way we grow is if you tell someone else about our podcast. So do us a favor. Tell a friend about us, especially if they play Destiny. We appreciate that. Well, Mr. Kingsleymac, thank you, sir, for sitting in and being my special guest co-host tonight, talking Final Shape. Where can people find out about you, your podcast, all that good stuff? Yeah.
Thank you. It was such a pleasure. I love being here to help out. And, I am, one of the, co-hosts of, and one of the two people that started, the Guardian Hub, podcast on Discord. And we're also a member of the Owl Sector Alliance. And we pretty much started the same time you guys did. I think only a couple months before.
Yeah. I think what episode are you guys on? I'm on 256 here today.
Yeah, remember? We are on, we just recorded last night, episode 265.
So you're 15, you're about 10 ahead. Okay.
We've probably done like 4 or 5 weeks of not total in our several years of doing this, of not having an episode every week.
Yeah, I got you.
Nice. But yeah, we love what we do. And I kind of had this idea like you did to start a Destiny community. And again, we're called the Guardian Hub. And if you want to find out any information, well, first of all, you can find me as Kingsleymac everywhere. Maybe I'll have a slightly different name in the Discords, but you can look at the actual Discord name and find me. I love helping people out with activities in the game. I carried Gator through Dual Destiny. No, I'm just kidding.
No, you're right.
We both worked on it together.
Carry me, senpai.
And if you want to find more information about our show, our Discord, or anything like that, hey, just check out our website. It is www.theguardianhub.com.
The best hub on the net. I love doing that.
Thank you, Gator. You do that so well when Sin is not around.
Yeah, I'm no Sin, but that's as close as you'll get. Well, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Everything. I always have a great time when you come on the show. We always get in some good conversations, and yeah, you just have tons of information. I just love picking your brain on a lot of this stuff. You can contact me via Twitter, X at Todd the Gator. That's 2 Ds, GATR. You can find me on Steam and PS5 playing the game Destiny 2. I have a YouTube channel, Todd the Gator. I have a other podcast called the Destiny Help Desk, and I actually have a new episode coming up very soon, so keep an eye on that. It is destinyhelpdeskpodcast.com, or if you want to visit and find out what this podcast is all about, it is guardiandowncast.com. Everything's there. We have a brand new website. Very cool. You can leave us a message, all that good stuff. So check that out and give us a rating and review. We'd appreciate that. All right. Before we go, Laz, Better Call Laz. Yeah, you're right, Kingsley. I've had this sitting on my desk for a couple of weeks now, and it just can't be avoided.
Get on it.
So I know he's been pestering you to bug me too. So, Laz, what's going on, sir? What's this meeting about, and what can I help you with, sir?
Hello, Guardian Downcast, and whatever guest may or may not be on this week. I recognize that I don't get a schedule ahead of time. Oh, how rude of me. You should recognize my voice by now, but this is obviously the office of Better Call Laz. It is our official name, and that's what we're rolling with, because you better call me if you've got legal issues. If you reach out to another lawyer, I will disown you. Disown. Okay? Got it? Cool. Anyways, I don't get a guest list months in advance. This would be nice information to have, so I can try to gather as much legal information about said individual as possible, because maybe you don't want to associate yourself with some of these guests who might have a long list of crimes that haven't necessarily been recognized by the legal authorities yet, or illegal authorities. Those space mafia guys. I mean, they're pretty sketchy, So there's a lot of stuff going on with that. Shh. Stop talking to me, GPS. Stop talking. Shh. Yes, they even have GPS in space, because despite the fact that everything frickin' looks the same because it's dark and cold, you still need directions. Whoops, did you turn left at Venus instead of right? Well, guess what? You just delayed yourself by about 5,000 years. That's just how it works. Okay, anyways, so it's come to my attention that the big expansion release, and I'm trying to get all the documents prepped and ready to go so that everyone can have a mighty fine time without the need to worry about all the legal shenanigans that pop up. People complaining about, oh, there's too many people in the queue, I couldn't get in. No, you cannot sue Bungie. It doesn't work that way. They have long queues. It's kind of like going to an amusement park and complaining about the long lines of people there. Well, why did you go on 4th of July, dummy? It's going to be super long, the lines. Come on, think about it. It's the same thing with this. If you guys try to jump in the night of, guess what? Long queues. Night of. Day of. I forgot. So for those of you that took time off of work and are going to go and try to play it, or for those of you that don't work during the day or work remotely because you're super lucky and that's how your job works, schmucks, enjoy that. Definitely reach out to me if you have any issues not related to the queues, because that's what I'm here for. If you have any other issues, please just step into my DMs. Do not slide into my DMs. I'm not all about that. Stepping in, yes. Sliding, no. All right? Goodbye.
All right. Remember, as you're playing Final Shape, take breaks, get outside, and touch some grass. Kingsleymac. Hey, everyone. We're Guardian Downcast. Your stories, your community, your destiny. and be good to your fellow Guardians in the Destinyverse.
The weight of the world was on your shoulders, and still you triumphed. Marvelous.
Thank you all so very much for listening. And later, Guardian.
Bye. I'll be touching grass and other things.
Yeah, you need to touch grass, man. Just said it in the show.
Found out it was going to be a 2-person activity. I'm like, I kind of like that too because it's different than the typical 3-person things, you know. And I don't know why I thought of you. Maybe you were online, or I just thought maybe it wasn't even necessarily for the podcast. But then when we started thinking about it, like, oh, this is going to be perfect because then we'll talk about it on the podcast also.
Oh, it was perfect.
But
perfect timing. I'm glad you asked me.
I'm glad we did. Yeah.
Kingsley, what's going on in Player Support Report this week, man?
Yeah, some stuff is broken, but not that much. It could be worse.
Okay, I'll take it.